Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the recovery addict, and boy do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy there.
Got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughing him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
All right, let's see. I think we are we're getting back. Got all sorts of updates for you. All sorts of updates. Thank you all for being here. First of all, a big shout over because this is a little too loud. There we go. There we go. A little quieter here. A big shout out to Kathy. First in chat here. Let me just pull you up on screen here. Kathy says, "Hey y'all." Kathy is here, and Kathy's won the internet. Congratulations, Kathy. What a day, because I should have warned you beforehand. But the person who's in charge of the internet is also over any, say, like search warrants, IP-related search warrants, even if telephone calls, because those are routed over the internet service as well. So everything related to this whole bomb threat thing they're having down at the courthouse, you're sort of responsible for it. So keep the internet running and find the person who did this. And that's all we ask, Kathy. It's a small ask, but I know you can handle that. So thank you, Kathy. Appreciate it. We also got a little comment. Somebody said they peed in the water, and the water's fine. It's plenty warm now, so come on in. Too much information, but I did once share a song about that with some family. There was a funny song about swimming in the water and why it was warm now. A similar thought process on that one. We have a couple things I want to share. First of all, I wanted to show you the moment that this all happened in court, so we can watch. I'm going to watch it on the split screen with all three cameras. So we're going to pull this up now. We're skipping roll call just for a little minute because I don't know what's going to happen here. This is all sort of breaking news. So let's see if I can bring this up with some audio. I think we have audio here as well. So it's paused right now. I'm going to go ahead and bring me off the screen, or at least bring the words off the screen so you guys can see what's happened. So we're going to go ahead and put play on this.
Stay calm. Excuse me.
So here's the witness who comes up. He's about to get sworn in. We can't see the judge right now. He's off camera. So there's the lady that's going to swear. There's the judge right here. The judge doesn't know anything yet. So now we're watching. Witness comes up. I'm keeping an eye on the judge right now.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes, I do.
Thank you. If you'll have a seat on the stand.
So people are walking around. I'm not seeing any activity in the courtroom.
If you'll state your name, just that microphone there, and spell your last name for the record.
Brian Hudak, Hudak.
Agent Hudak, how are you doing today?
Pretty good.
Where are you employed?
South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, also known as SLED.
All right, and what is your duties
Watching
there?
the
I'm a
audience.
special agent in computer crimes.
Door just opened.
And just briefly, what do your duties entail? At the
Conduct forensic examinations, cell phones, computers, vehicle infotainment modules, any sort of electronic device that can hold evidence.
still
Also,
coming in and out.
evidence custodian for the unit.
Just a moment, sir.
The judge just says, just a moment. He's looking at something. The judge is looking at something, probably reading a note or talking.
I have the jury go to the jury room for a recess.
That was the shortest court appearance ever. So now it's like they're talking bomb threat. Really? You see Jim say. Then Alex says to Alex, bomb threat, and they're the bomb threat. You can see the word going around, bomb threat. Do you see the mouth there? Bomb threat. And now the witness gets told bomb threat. His eyebrows go up. He's like, what's going on? And it's just spreading through the courtroom right now. And news is just spreading around. The judge is excusing him. They're like, what do we do? And judge comes on right now and gives a little more information.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have to evacuate the building at this time, so we'll be in recess until we discover what's going on.
Okay, so that's all we have from what happened there. But
we'll couple this with a lunch break until 2:30.
That is super loud, Judge. That was super loud. Okay, so that's all we had, and then that's the last we saw out of the office. Now, there are a couple things we've learned from social media. First of all, that it was a bomb threat. Is basically what they're dealing with. But in addition to that, we've learned that it was probably directed, at least that it was the contact went to the judge's chambers or towards the judge area. So that's the method the threat came in. We don't know if it was email. We don't know if it's a phone or a note or something like that. We don't know how that was delivered. But it was somehow delivered to the judge's side of the courthouse as far as that, and it wasn't from somebody in the audience or something like that. Anyway, so we have that. It is most likely just a prank caller. We had the same thing in Darrell Brooks' trial.
And what do we know from outside?
Okay, so let me go ahead and put this back where I need it. I need to turn that off. Okay. Yes, the Darrell Brooks trial had the exact same thing happen, Anthony. Exact same thing. They had a bomb threat or something. This was a SLED agent who was about to start testifying, and so it's interesting. I don't think it was related to this individual's testimony. I think this is the same thing that happened in Darrell Brooks' case. Now, the problem we have is we are in rural South Carolina, and the bomb squad is 1 hour away. So they may take 15 minutes to assemble and then roll out if they have a rapid response unit or something like that. But they still have to drive an hour and to get there. So they're probably not going to go lights and sirens the full way here. So they probably are not going to get there any sooner than about an hour after the bomb threat came in. And then they have to go through their process. The local community, the local law enforcement does not have those resources to clear the building. So what we're hearing now is that the building still has not been cleared from a safety standpoint. Everyone might be out of the building, but the building hasn't been cleared. Excuse me, the pickles are coming back to bite me. I had quite a few of them, by the way. Gave me the hiccups for some reason. So yes, there's a bomb threat, but we don't have any indication that there's any credibility to it. Let's see. So there's live shots that say like Law and Crime has that's outside the courtroom. They're set up right across the street, so obviously they're not worried about being too close to it. Typically a bomb would be something you'd want to get a little further back from, but they're not making a huge area around it that's ruled off. They have stopped traffic from around the area and told people to avoid the area and consider alternate routes. TW says, in the pickle aisle at Walmart, where are these spicy bourbon pickles? Usually they're up on the top shelf, where all the good stuff is, on the top shelf, and look for the label spicy bourbon. Right next to the mango habanero, which is complete garbage. Don't get those. You'll regret every decision you've ever made regarding it if you do. Mango habanero, no bueno. Go for the spicy maple bourbon, and you'll be happy. So yeah, we had, he just got caught up. I think everyone's going to get caught up because I don't think the judge is going to make that 2:30 timeline. If everyone is still outside the courtroom right now, which they are, we can see from the feeds that are available on the ground. And I caught up with James from the court. I caught up with the DUI guy. Both of those were on Rekieta Law here during the break, which is funny because he ripped them a new one last night when he was drunk and went off on them. But anyway, they were back on that channel talking about this. And since everybody is out and about in the community, it's going to be at least, if it was cleared right now, if the law enforcement moved the barriers, said, all right, everybody back in, here we go, it's going to be at least an hour before we can get everyone back in. People have to be situated, the jury has to be brought in, everything has to be set up that way. the cameras, the connections, the people, the judge. The courtroom has to be settled, and it's going to be at least an hour. It's not going to start on time, if at all. There are some people who say that this probably will mean it's the end of court for the day, and I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. But at the same time, this judge does not like delays, and they're planning on being here all day. And if they can come back in and get an hour, maybe 2 hours worth of work done, I think he will. So that's my take there, my hot take on the situation. Let's see, who's asking, let's see, just wondering, Jojo Peter says, just wondering, who are you talking about that's friends outside of this? We're all friends. We're all friends. Let's see, where are we at here? I'm just trying to get caught up on chat. Jenny says, good to see you there. You had asked a question. I don't know what it was. Well, if I find it again, I'll answer it. I like the kindness and different views and how RA is so calm and the people are so nice here. This is a fun place to be, and it's not the edgiest. I mean, if you want the edgy, the swearing, the edge of your seat drama, you can find that. That's out there. And sometimes I admit I like watching that sometimes myself, but that's not how I am day in and day out. So is the bomb threat over? I think the threat is still active. I don't believe the building has been cleared yet. I don't think actually the bomb squad has arrived yet from an hour away. A little bit Houston is on the low-risk area, so there's a chance, but I think we'll see any naders. It's going to come east into Louisiana and Mississippi. So a little bit of tornadoes. That might be the most action we see all afternoon. Hello, Nancy. Welcome back. We are back, sort of. Shh, teacher's here. Hide that. I saw that, you guys. Maui Gal is here. Good to have you. Red Pen, Sunshine and Sunflowers, Deborah, everybody's taking their seat. I appreciate that. We can sort of mill about because the judge is not in the courtroom, so you guys don't need to sit down quite yet. Old dude is here. No GSR detected. Mac, they did detect some. I think the testimony was that they actually did detect the swab of his right hand did have one gunshot residue particle. And when you think of this as smaller than the human eye can see, there was one speck smaller than the human eye could see on his right hand. That's the only bit that he had on him. And that could very easily be transfer GSR from holding a shotgun that had been fired and maybe not cleaned entirely. So that was not a smoking gun for me. Little Miss is here. Good to have you. Keep an eye on your weather. Yes, the Weather Watch told us this morning there are some scattered tornadoes that might happen this evening for Mississippi, Louisiana area. Let's see what else we have. Things go loco if you're not around to supervise. Let's see. Just trying to answer some questions here. If you need Discord help, Toxic is the one to help for sure. She's the one that set that up with Lil Miss. And Amber does a ton of work over there as well as far as document hound work. Did they find a bomb? No news that they found anything right now, Anthony. This most likely, most bombs are just a threat. I will tell you, I have found a bomb. I have found a bomb before. But there was no threat associated with it as far as a warning. I just happened upon the bomb before it had exploded. And long story there, but it's funny when I run into bomb squad members when I'm talking with law enforcement, and I ask them how many bombs they've found, like real bombs, and they're like, "Well, none." I'm like, "Well, I got you beat." Not to brag or anything, but I found one. Alex Murdaugh smiling right before it happens. I didn't see. He seemed genuinely surprised a little bit to me, so I didn't see anything indicating that he might have been involved, and I don't think he is. Honestly, I don't think that's his MO. Maybe don't start testimony until everyone comes in and is quiet. Let's see. We might have to play it again if you guys missed it. I realize a lot of people are just coming in right now. Can't he stand for the jury? Patty, this judge does not ask people to stand for the jury. He doesn't. They stand for the judge, but he doesn't ask them to stand for the jury. And that's normally, I thought it was pretty standard, across the country, but I guess in this court it's standard not to stand for the jury. Checked on a couple other channels. Seems like law tubers aren't all convinced by the state's case. Yeah, but we say howdy here. You've got to realize that if you talk to all these other law tubers, great guys, all of them. I watch most of them. A lot of them are defense attorneys, and there's nothing wrong with a defense attorney, but it's their job to poke holes in the state's argument. Okay, so they're viewing this as they would. They're basically Harpootlian, right? And just in another case, that's who they are, and so they're approaching it the same way a defense attorney would. So I'm not sure if that might slant it a little bit because they're seeing it through their eyes, and most of them will tell you they're biased. They're biased because of their own experience. Everyone is biased because of their experience. So I think they might not be the best measure of exactly how the state's case is going. I would argue, and this might not be a popular opinion, I'd argue that you guys collectively are a more accurate indicator of how the state's case is going, because you are a lot like the jury, seeing a lot of this information for the first time, watching it unfold as it does in court, just like the jury does, and then having to decide for yourself where things stand. Let's see, Rando, do you don't think distraction is Alex Murdaugh's MO? Well, I do think it is, but I don't think the bomb threat is. That seems outside of that the scope a little bit. We haven't seen anything like that would threaten other people. He seemed to be more into getting sympathy, and this doesn't seem to be something that would give him sympathy. Let's see. Maybe this judge doesn't realize that the jury is the judge of the facts just as he's the judge of the law. For all those asking as the gavel drops, be sure to roll up so you'll be able to access all our content over on Discord. And you need to help. If you need help, post an SOS in Chambers chat and we'll help you out. Toxic, thank you so much. I know that's a never-ending job as we constantly funnel more people to the Discord channel. But you guys do amazing work over there. If you want any documents on any of the cases we're following, chances are everything you want and more is over on Discord for all these cases. Let's see. Defense lawyers always side with the defense. I don't like the state's chances, but these lawyers always look for reasonable doubt, even if it isn't. Yeah. Look at some of the other cases they've taken similar approaches on. For if you have some other law tubers you follow, a lot of times they side with the defense, even when they're found guilty, and they're like, "Oh, that was wrong. I don't agree with it," type thing. Well, that's their job. That's what they do. They defend defendants, and that's what they're trying to do in this case as well. Do you think they will stop all media to this case due to this bomb threat? Tabitha, I heard that discussion. I think Law and Crime brought that up in their talking head portion, but I don't think so. I don't think there's any indication that the media is the reason for this, other than somebody wanted some attention. But even the media not being there, it would still be attention. They'd still get the same result. You'd still have cameras outside the courtroom. You'd still have all the guys out there, and it would do the same thing. So I don't think it would fix it to not have cameras in court. Had to go out for a few hours, so missed the last witness. Can you bring me up to speed? Ashley, the last witness to get called up was a SLED agent who just barely introduced himself, and I barely caught his name, and then the bomb threat happened. And so we all got evacuated. Let's see, who was before? I don't know. My brain's just full of bomb threat information. I don't even know who was right before him. Let's see. Hi, Jules. We're watching the Alex Murdaugh trial in South Carolina. Yes, we are. Emmy Boo, good to have you here as well. Let's see, Jules. So just joined today's episode, so not sure what's gone on there today. Love these from Northeast England. Jules, this is crazy. The whole bomb threat thing. This is not normal court in U.S. courts. This is very irregular. Just my opinion says he's on trial for murdering his family. You don't think he'd be involved in a bomb threat? I don't. I think it would be hard for him to coordinate that from jail. First of all his calls are recorded. All his interactions are recorded. I don't think for a minute the defense lawyers would be willing to put their jobs and their law license on the line to try to help structure this and communicate this. Even defense the criminal defense lawyers that we oftentimes, have a hard time with just what they're doing by nature of their job. They're like, how can you defend this guy? Even as sleazy as we sometimes see them as, they wouldn't do that. There's no way they would go to that, stoop to that level. Most of them would be very careful to follow the law in everything they do. And they're very good attorneys for that reason. Even we don't like what they do as an attorney, they're very good attorneys, and they wouldn't cross that line. So I don't think he orchestrated this. So he wouldn't have any knowledge of this. Because of your previous work history, bomb team guys are or not able to trace call made to indicate bomb threat. Lady Writer, yes, you can trace all sorts of calls, all sorts of information. There are certain things you can do to make it easier to trace a call. I don't want to get too much into that. Is that okay? Because I don't know what I can say and what I can't. I've talked to some people who have some cool information about that, but their ability to track down someone who makes a threat like this is much better than the person probably thinks. Let's go there. What's the latest on the case involving Murdaugh hiring a hitman on himself? Is that being addressed in this case, or is it a separate issue? I don't know if they're going to bring that in this case very much. We'll have to see. The hitman, I believe, is serving time, right? That's Uncle Eddie. Let's see. On a globe, finding bugs is a real possibility. It's the bark from the maple tree in my backyard. Oh, that's something else. Jumped in the middle of a conversation. Sorry about that, KQD. 280 in chat. We're back. We're trying to wait for court to start. I'm going to play this video clip again about how the bomb threat came in, just so you can watch all the different feeds as they happen. How about the police chase you showed during court the other day? We'll see. We'll see what happens. We're trying to get some news here. I expect news probably in the next hour. We'll know in the next hour if court's going to come back. But Wallflower is present. Dishes are done. Excellent work, Wallflower. Congratulations on that. You can take the rest of the day off. Let them know I said that. I love police chases. I do. What we need is one to happen right now, because I prefer to have live police chases, just like I prefer to have a live court case. I'd rather have it happening and we watch it together than watch something that happened in the past. GPET says, this may have been asked and answered, but I'm just getting here, so sorry for repetitive. Wasn't there a bomb scare during Brooks' trial? Yeah, it was. There was. And we've seen similar things at other large events. You can imagine that at huge sporting events, large things, anytime there's a huge group of people, I just saw a text on the burner phone asking for pet pictures. Anytime there's a huge group of people together, some dumbbell out there is going to get the idea. It's like, hey, watch what I can do. And it's going to turn out that it's going to be a prank, and they're going to be very sorry. And they'll be very apologetic, and they'll have a huge fine, and they'll probably spend a few days in jail. And they'll get some scary visits from some people in suits that have no sense of humor. And all this will happen because of this. I don't know if there'll be like hard jail time for something like this. Generally, the bigger the problem it was, the more serious they take the threat and the punishment as well. I sent a solo pic to the burner phone. You can post. I've got so many pet pictures. Some whose birthday it is today, I might say. We've got pet pictures all over the place. I'm trying to follow just a little bit what's happening with the courtroom. Do you think the judge will order a closed trial now? No public and no cameras. No, I don't think that's a threat at all. At all. I think this judge is not. There's been no evidence that he's frustrated with the camera, the mics, any of the attention they're getting. I think the judge probably benefits a little bit, because judges typically have to be retained. They're up for vote every few years. And just like Judge Doral saw, her stock rose through the roof with her trial, even though it was a mess, and the cameras and dealing with everything was a little difficult at times, getting the audio to work together, and we've had some of that in this trial as well. It's good for her personally. I think it's good for Judge Newman as well. I was in a client meeting, just got back from bar lunch. What did I miss? Not much, Matthew. We're just waiting for the judge to come back from the bomb threat. So, yeah, everything got evacuated, Matthew. Bomb threat in the courtroom. I'll show the stream one more time of when it happened. And now that you've watched it once, for those who have seen it already, just take a look at specifically when the guy in gray goes back and tells the defendant's table what happened, and they reply. Let's see, I think I'm at the right spot here. Let me back up just a couple more. So I'm trying to find the exact, I need the timestamp, and I don't have it here. It's about 2 hours ago. Back Back up, and wait until the new. Okay, here we go.
Spicy bourbon pickles on the move from Walmart. Smiley face.
Okay, so here we have the witness from SLED, who's walking up the aisle, who's about to take the stand. I'm going to take Matthew's comments down here. I want to watch. You've got a few tears from Alex there on the bottom. He's about to be sworn in. Put his hand on the Bible here. Left hand.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Okay.
If you'll have a seat on the
So
stand.
nobody knows yet. Nobody knows what's going on. I think the bailiff, the guy in the gray suit that you'll see on
Just
the
that
bottom
microphone
camera,
there, and spell your last name for the record.
I think he's the one that delivers the message to the judge.
H-U-D-A-K.
So Brian Hudad, I think his name.
Agent Hudak, how are you doing today?
Pretty good.
Hudad.
Where are you employed?
South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, also known as SLED.
All right, and what is
Still
your duties
nothing.
there?
I'm a special agent in computer crimes.
All right, and just briefly, what do your duties entail? At the
Conduct forensic examinations, cell phones,
So I think
computers,
right now the judge is being told
infotainment modules.
we have a situation.
Any sort of electronic device that can hold evidence. Also, I'm an evidence custodian for the unit.
Okay, so here he's being told.
Just a moment, sir.
Judge is listening. Mic goes off. Sees what goes on. He says, "Okay, let's get rid of the jury first." Now watch the bottom window as defense finds out.
I have the jury go to the jury room for a recess.
Because they'll mouth the words "bomb threat." He's like, "Really?" Defense is like, "What's going on?" "Really?" He says. Turns around, bomb threat. And I was like, "Huh, weird." And then this guy comes back on the screen and he says, "Bomb threat." Okay, that's my lip reading. That's what I saw. So jury starts leaving. The judge is like, "Oh, it looks like we got to get everybody out now that the jury's leaving." Didn't want to alarm them at all. I think once they're out of the room, he waits for just a minute. Jury's out.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have to evacuate the building at this time, so we'll be in recess until we discover what's going on.
And of course, everyone starts talking at that time. So that's how that went down just before lunch. So that's what you missed, Matthew. And you say you have an alibi. Well, is it ironclad? Because we're looking at everybody this afternoon. Bomb threat was not on your bingo card, Lindsay. Unlucky. Court TV says attorneys coming back into the courthouse. Let me look on the live. Let's see here. I'm not seeing anything yet on the live, so we'll see. Alex did look a little amused. It was like a smirk, like, weird. Thank you, Uncle Eddie, says this is Blue Ridge Mafia. Cooper, what do you want me to show? I missed what you had asked for. I thought I'd get a chance to see. Never mind. Let me know what it was. I might be able to show it. They might have gotten word that you were about to tell a joke and it was going to bomb. Ha, ha, ha. Let's see. Don Hagerman has admitted to becoming an addict. Thank you, Don, for subscribing to the channel. I appreciate it. Hope you enjoy it here. Once you're here, though, you cannot leave. I'm not sure if you knew that before, but welcome. This is your new home. We wrap our arms around you and never let go. Purple Peony says, jury was told if they were afraid to come back, they may have a mistrial. I don't think they'll be afraid to come back. I think the judge is going to make it very clear that that there was zero credibility to the threat, and all the safety measures have been in place, and they will be. They will step up the measures. They'll probably have a better perimeter and things around that. They'll probably have additional law enforcement, maybe SLED on standby. Looks like people may be coming back in the courtroom. Let's check and make sure everything's up to the latest. Just 1 minute here. Okay. We still have our feed from the wall, and I just saw it shake just a tiny bit, which means that somebody is walking in there. Let's see. I know you guys want me to show pet photos. We're trying. Bomb threat was directed at Judge Chambers for Murdaugh trial. The attorneys have been let back in the courthouse and spectators are lined up. Looks like everything is clear, says Kathy Russin. So I'm a little early then. I was wrong. I thought it was going to take an hour. They must have got there real quick. You don't want to see my phone records, not because they're salacious, but because they're just sad. Nothing but legal research pickles and dank memes to RA. Oh, sad phone records. Can we get one or both of the hunky cops from the start of the trial to guard the witness stand in frame of the camera, of course? DMB, how did I know that you would be the one that asked for that? I realize you're a bit partial to some of those officers. Something about a man in uniform, I think is what she said. Buster to his uncle, if we can scare the jury, they will miss trial. Uncle replies, do it with a bomb threat. I don't think that's the case. I think they're going to find that this had no connection. It's so easy to track these things down. I believe they'll find who did it, and maybe we'll get a little indicator when the judge gets back in the courtroom as to how it was delivered, if they received a letter, if they received an email, if it was a phone call, whatever it was. But I believe they'll be able to track it down. Demon Puppy was not involved in the bomb threat. I promise. He was with me the whole time. Bomb squad for missile bumped the tripod. I think we're seeing people, the door, every time the door slams, it might shake the room just enough to cause the camera to shake like that, like it just did right there. That's what I'm seeing. 3 weeks, guy said he can stay longer now, I believe. He did. Juror 729, Bills, who you're talking about, he initially said, I'm good for 3 weeks, and he told the judge that, and the judge sat him, and it's going to be a 5-week trial. And so he reminded the judge, like, by the way, my 3 weeks are almost up, so I'm going to be out of here. And the judge was like, well, first of all, no, you're not. But second of all, rethink this. And the guy said, okay, he worked something out with work, and he's going to stay. Let's see. Cooper would like to see Sully's picture. We'll have to figure out how to do this. It takes a lot. I'm trying to. Here's the problem. First of all, I've seen all your pet pictures, but I don't know which one Sully is. Sunshine Sunflowers. You find it here. Is Sully, send me Sully's picture again. Let's do that. Jimbo says, recovered, I've been hearing this may be grounds for a mistrial. Jimbo, I would not be surprised if defense claimed a mistrial, especially if the judge let a juror off the trial because of this. That's like a move. We already saw earlier today the defense, as in one of their motions, they're like, hey, we don't want this in, and we'd like you to strike everything that's happened for the last 4 days from the record. And the judge is like, well, that's not going to happen. The Colleton County Sheriff was prepared in case something like this happened, I heard. If they are getting back in right now, they definitely were. They did remove everyone from the building, I believe. If the threat was phoned or emailed, it can be traced. Another trial. What joy. Yes. Let's see. Let's see. Here's Sully's picture here. Let me take a look at it. Okay, I've got Sully. Give me just a minute. We'll see if we can get Sully up on screen for you. Where's the picture? There it is. Okay. Here we go. Sully's going to be on screen here. There we go. That is Sully. We've had a lot of pet pictures come in during the break. Yes, we were sending pet pics. We're just waiting for court to start again. It's pronounced Lucy Lou. We've got cat pictures as well. We have all sorts of pictures. Okay, thank you very much. That's from Bite Me, I think. We've got lots of pictures. We're going to have to figure out, they're coming in like crazy now. We're going to have to figure out how to show these pictures sometime when we're not waiting for the bomb squad to finish their work here. Maybe we'll have to stay late. Oh, man, tonight's that night. Tonight's the night where I actually have to do a presentation on YouTube to that youth group. And I'm not even sure, not even quite done preparing it. Some of the people who might be there are there, so don't tell them that. Shh. I've got a couple more things to prepare on that. I didn't send my pet picture in. Trust me, he's really cute. Hello from Austria, Martina. Good to have you here from Austria. We're having a lot of fun here today as we wait for a court to come back in, which it looks like we're going to start again. And I do expect the judge to address this somehow in one manner or another. We're going to have to do pet pics. Maybe tomorrow morning. How about that? If we do tomorrow morning, instead of roll call, we show pet pics. What do you think about that? I'll see if I can do that. One alternate did have health issues. He went to the emergency room. That got him excused. So they are down one. Somebody just... Matthew Harris just sent me a picture of his boots. His court boots. The boots he wears to court. This is good. The burner phone is for all these purposes. That's why we have it. Let's see. Bite Me says, I didn't see her photo. What? You didn't look? I put it up and you didn't see it? Let's see. The general public is now lining up to enter the courtroom. And I guess the tickets got reissued. So people who were there before might not be in there now. So I wasn't naughty, Maggie. I promise I was good the whole time. That's the youth group. Youth. Young juvenile adults type people. Pre-adult age. Teenagers. Sent pics of all three pups. I've got pictures of 3 dogs, 4 dogs, 2 dogs, 1 cat. I have all sorts of pictures of pets. Some very cute close-ups, some distant like profile pics. I've got every type of animal pic you can imagine that's been sent to the burner phone. And they're still coming in with names as well. And they're spamming the burner. Okay, so tomorrow, I think it's decided, we'll do a special opening in lieu of roll call. Tomorrow we'll do a Thursday pet pick, and you guys can hear this. Can you hear my phone just doing the dooloot telling me I have more texts? By popular demand, I just sent you a pic of my court boots in case the delay runs long. Let's see. So Soli, P. Cooper saw Soli. Awesome. They received a menacing message. I think we need to follow their Twitter feed. That's where they've been releasing information. So we might have to give them a follow really quickly and see if they give more updates once this is over. I sent you pics of my pet ostrich. The boots. Is that what you're talking about? Ostrich boots. Court it appears they're going back on. We're letting people back in the courtroom. People are rushing to line up as civilians are letting back in, just us regular people, as well as reporters. Every time you hear that, I'm getting another pet picture to the phone. Let's see. I need a burner phone so I can send a pet pic to RA's burner phone. Any iguanas or snakes? We've had hawks. We've had, I think we've had some snakes as well. I do not have a bearded dragon pet yet, and no one sent a picture in yet. You guys are burning up the phone. I'm going to have to put it on the charger here quick. Used to live with 200 snakes? Oh, my goodness. Is that literal? Or, were you in a dorm with lawyers or something? Sorry, Matthew. I had to go there. I had to do it. When we have time, just claim our pet chat. Yeah, we'll do the claim your pet chat. That would be easier, actually, Samantha Terry. The hardest part about showing pet pictures is linking up the name of the pet with the picture. It's easy for me to show the pictures of the pets, but it's hard to then say the proper name and who owns it. So we might have to show a picture and we'll talk about it, and then somebody can say, that's mine, or something. Linda, you have 50 clients. Awesome. Congratulations. This message was sent to Judge Newman's chambers. That's what I heard, Carl, that's where the threat went. And I was right. Those did look like ostrich boots. I did ask for it. Yes, you can send pictures of your pets to the burner phone. You can do that. Thank you. There's the burner phone number right there. Let's see. Did you get my text? I got all the texts, Jenny. And I'm still getting all the texts. Oh man. It's lagging. It's constantly just updating with more messages as we go. So I'm not sure if the burner phone will be useful for any of its other purposes for a little while it catches up. Are they trying to get a new judge, perhaps? Freddie, I don't think this will scare him off. You've got to realize this judge, he's been through hard times, and he could have probably said, hey, I can't handle this case. My son died last month, which he did. And he could have tried to get off that way and have somebody else take it, but he didn't. I think he's going to move forward. I think he wants to move forward in this case. I don't think this will scare him off. Judges have notoriously have thick skin. P is going to need to hire someone to manage the burner. My boots are made of ostrich, allegedly. Matthew Harris, I may or may not have. I have an item of what would you call it? Scottish wear, because I have Scottish ancestry. I have an item of Scottish wear that may or may not be made out of something that is not supposed to be in the country. Shows one pup and the burner catches on fire. I'm getting like 3 emails or 3 texts at a time on the burner phone as they're coming in. So just spam the pic one time. You don't have to send the same picture over and over. That won't do any good. Are we even sure court will resume today? Jimbo, they're letting people back in, so I assume it will. But really the actual decision is going to be made by the judge when we come back in the courtroom and he says, here's what happened, here's what we're going to do. So I think if the law enforcement is good with them coming back in court and saying, yeah, it's safe for you to be here, I don't see any reason for the judge to say, I don't think it's safe, everyone go home. So I think we are going to go back and get at least a couple hours of some testimony, and may not get to Chris Wilson at this rate, which is a bit of a bummer, but it just means that the weekend is going to end on a hot note. It's going to be amazing. Burner phone is on fire for sure. He was selected to rule over this case. Seems to be a great judge. I believe he is. It's going to be awesome. You may have opened a can of worms with all the pet pics. Yes, but we love them.
There's a lawsuit.
They're great. I have allergies, and I'm unable to. We've got family members with allergies, and so most pets are out of the options for us. But occasionally, my kids love. I've taken them with me when I went and filmed a video for a hound rescue business. Or I guess it's one of those 501c3 organizations. So it's not for profit, but they rescue these hounds, these hunting dogs. It's sort of like the dogs that Buster had, but more of the hound style. That they rescue those and just give them a forever home there. And it was so fun to go there with my kids with 20 of the loudest baying hounds you've ever heard that are just so excited to play with people and have fun. My kids love that, and in small doses we can handle that without the allergies going through the roof. But we don't have a pet right now. Your Scottish granny is listening, laddie. Hey, Maggie. Thank you very much. Good to have you here. Let's see. Does RA text you back if he gets the text? He normally would, but I have like 40 unanswered texts and a couple phone calls as well, which I was not able to answer. It looks like Sherry, you were one of them. I apologize. Promise not to send you any photos, RA. I'm not rowdy like that. Let's see. Let's see. The judge. We lost a friend this morning. I found out right as we went live, and I wasn't going to say anything. But I know some of you out there are in a similar situation with people who are in doing very poorly health wise, and a friend passed away last night who was also doing very poorly in health. So it hit me a little hard today. Let's see. There are hypoallergenic pets. My Rocket he's the dog in my profile pic. Yeah, I need a hypoallergenic, but I'm really picky here. I need a dog that doesn't poop. That's my hang up. I'm not good on, bagging it. I'm not good on doing that, and I'm also not good on just leaving it in the yard because I love to run around barefoot in my yard. So I need a dog that doesn't poop. And when they come out with a dog that doesn't poop, I will buy a dozen of them and make them my own. It's all I can do. Thank you. Thank you. We knew it was coming, but it was sad. I need a cat then. You never really own a cat, Mr. Upper Torso, and I hate to bring up this because I know it's going to cause an argument in chat, but you can sort of adopt a cat and interact with it periodically as the cat wishes, but you never really own a cat. The cats sort of do their own. Give it a couple years and an OpenAI dog might be on the table. Cade, we'll have to talk about OpenAI sometime. Crazy news, and that if you guys don't know what OpenAI or Chat GPT or whatever all those acronyms are, if you don't know what that is, basically robots are getting smarter, and now there's a good chance that a lot of what you see on the internet is created by a robot. A lot of the blog posts you read, a lot of the maybe even the results that you're seeing online or the answers to your Google search can be created by a robot. That was announced just the other day. Both Microsoft and Google are going to use AI in their search tools. So let's see. The phone is going nuts. It's crazy. I think like 40 people have sent me messages, and some of them multiple. Sharon, thank you so much. Appreciate it. I'm fortunate that Sully only poops for the boyfriend. Yeah, train him to poop somewhere else, and that's a good thing. They do. It's called a stuffed animal. My daughter has a few of those, and maybe we'll have to just settle with that for right now. Still nothing from the courtroom here as we're waiting. I've got audio turned on. Nothing there. Let's see. Let me actually switch to this one as well. Let's go there. You got a couple feeds coming in and nothing yet in the courtroom. There are children for poop scooping. I was a pooper scooper in a parade once. That's as much fun as I ever had scooping poop. And that was enough for me because horses and dogs are different when it comes to poop. I won't go into the details, but there was a lot. Dogs have owners, cats have staff, as they say. Oh, Mutt, I'm sorry. Heart goes out to you, man. Sorry about that. Sorry about your loss. Hate to ruin your day, but if you have a dog that doesn't poop, get it to the vet immediately. Yeah, I don't want one that's broken. I don't want one that's defective. I just that's my hang up. And I love pets. I love going over my neighbor across the street. Awesome guy, has the most energetic I think it's like a Staffordshire Bull Terrier. It's a dog that's just, it has so much muscle and so much energy that it's like you think of a bull in a china shop. That's what he has, and this dog is just so happy to see everybody. Just doesn't matter who it is. It's just all tail wag. I don't think he knows how to bite anyone, and it's fun to go over there and play with him. Let's see. You can create a dog run for the dog and hire someone to scoop the poop. I could, but I don't know. I think if I got a pet, it would have to be in the house. It would be. I'd worry about it too much out in the yard. Okay, let's see. Sounds like a calf-sized animal. The texts are still coming in. Fish. I think we're getting fish pictures as well now. Pet fish. So we'll have all the pets. Delayed due to medical issue. Ambulance on the way. O-Town. What are you talking about here? Are you seeing more news? Or is this something on your end in Ogden? It's only right that you get a stuffed dog and name him Mr. Pickles. You know what's funny? If you've ever played pickleball or know what pickleball is, it's like a cross between ping pong and tennis. The creator of that game named it pickleball because of his dog named Pickles, who liked to chase the ball. So there's a little fun thought. I'm sad that I had to research and write my college papers on my own before AI writer and generator. What a ripoff! Seriously, Alexis, that's what my concern would be, because the AI is getting so smart and so good. and it's growing. It learns as it goes. That's what's interesting. It's more like the human brain now.
There's a lawsuit.
It gets better as it goes along, and so everything you ask it to do is a little bit better than the last person who asked it to do something. So eventually, it will just be smarter than all of us, and we will work for the robots. And yet, we're terrified of spying at until it can do our shopping for us. No concerns there. Am I a robot? Yeah, serious. The technology is there to have someone in chat be a robot, honestly, and not just like to periodically post a comment, but to have a conversation and respond to the conversation and tag people's names and everything. It's there. It exists right now. I mean, it's possible to have that type of interaction, and it really messes with the algorithms when you think about it, because if somebody's out there with creating robots to make algorithms that interact and raise the metrics, it's like, what's real anymore, right? As far as the algorithm goes, it's robots controlling robots at that point. Horses always need to be at the end of the parade. Dilly, unfortunately, they put them right behind the flags at the front. And then they space them, right in front of the kids' marching band. And so I have to do all my scooping before the marching band comes through. It's I don't know who plans the parades, but it was no good. I need to get a robot to argue my Zoom hearings. Matthew, I read an article of a lawyer who was doing that, not using the robot because of the ethics situation, but used the robot to draft some of his filings and things like that. And he used some test subject to read them and review them. And some of the test subject preferred the robot writing to what his own writing. It's getting that good. Alex has just arrived back in court. We're waiting for feed right now to give us that. He's at the court, not in the court yet. People Magazine reported Alex Murdaugh has been transported to a safe location. Yes, he'll be back in the safe location under the judge's eye here in just a moment. That's why your mods will give their robot the boot. Let's see. Sharon says, pets, we have 1 dog, 3 cats, 2 lovebirds, 15 hamsters, and a yellowfin shark. How did the shark fit in there, especially with the cats? Unless it's small. A yellowfin shark, I'm not sure how big those get. And what size of tank is that in? Let's see. Just to be clear, I'm not a robot. That not a drama. That's what a robot would say. I mean, honestly. I mean, how would a robot convince me it's not a robot? Just the way you did. Report on Law and Crime just said unconfirmed reports that the device was in the judge's quarters, which would probably mean it's a hoax, as the public would get nowhere near there. I haven't heard that it's a device. I heard that the threat was delivered there, not necessarily a device. If it was a physical device, this courtroom, just on where Alex Murdaugh enters, I think there are 4 cameras alone on that side of the door is what I heard. They do have camera systems, unlike Moselle. If somebody delivered this, that would be caught really fast. I decided long ago I can't have any caged pets. I don't like the smell, and 2, it breaks my heart seeing an animal locked up all the time. Identify the traffic lights in this picture. Hey, I struggle with that, bite me. The worst one is like, click the ones with mountains. And I'm squinting in the background. I'm saying, I think there are actually some mountains behind that cloud. And so I try to say that one has mountains, that has mountains. Or, click all the crosswalks. And I'm like, in my eyes, like, it's not just going to be the crosswalk at the front of the picture. It's going to be the crosswalk, way down the road. And I can tell there's a light. I know there's a crosswalk there. And it takes like 4 tries to pass that test on the robots thing. And the worst thing is every time I try to get Sarah Boone documents, I have to pass one of those tests. Apparently I ask so many times it thinks I'm a robot. And so it asks me test after test to do that. Let's see. The trial's going to resume soon. Let's see. I mean, the tip-off was there was a device in the judge's quarters. Sorry, I wrote that all wrong. There was a device. SLED is investigating the bomb threat. The conversations in this chat. This is where to come to have all the conversations, Tar Healer. We talk about everything here. Nick Cruz wore a vest every day. I don't think Alec would do that. I don't think they'd make Alec do that. Can somebody send me a QR code to join this channel, please? Donna, to join this channel, here's what we can do. You can do exclamation point gifts, and that will turn on the membership, the gifts. If in case somebody gifts a membership, there's a chance that you could win one of those. But the QR code to join, I don't know if you can do that. If you can, some of the buttons down at the bottom of chat, I think it's like the $sign button. Oh, that's just super chat and super sticker. Let's see. Nope, I don't know what I'm talking about. There it is. I have no clue. I can't find it. There was probably no device. I'm saying whoever called in the threat said it was in the judge's quarters. That's what I think as well, Ashley. I'd be surprised if something was delivered. It's just the risk is too high to get caught. There we go. You can enable gifts by clicking that link, and then you turn the switch so that the button is blue. Usually that means go to the right. Let's see. Oh, man. How do I gift memberships? Once you're a member, I think the option is available. If you see somebody's member box appear at the top of chat, like some of you have passed the 1 month mark and you have like a free member chat you can give. If that box appears at the top of chat, that's one of the ways you can click on that and you can see it. On an iPhone, it's going to be harder. I think you have to go through Safari, but usually Safari will patch you over to the app once you connect. Safari might work for you. Month 48 is my goal, so I can be purple. Just doing it for the purple. That's awesome. Okay, we're waiting. I think we're seeing more activity around the courtroom as people are coming in. So we should have the judge soon. Hopefully gives us a little explanation as to what's happened. Let's see. Little Miss says, on the right in your chat box is a $sign. If you click on that, you can gift. So apparently that's how to do it, right there. I want pink, says Jojo. I'll have to look and see when pink happens. Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate it. He was a good guy. Just posted pup pics in the Facebook group, says Christy. That's another great place to post them. Any other upcoming trials that you're excited about, Ari? Maggie, one of the big ones I'm excited about is Sarah Boone, which was slated for April but might get pushed again with the investigator that they want to pay $10,000 to investigate her, basically the battered wife type history. So your link works for my iPhone. Awesome. Jules for Fly Guys. That's awesome. But that's probably going to be one of the biggest ones. I'd also like to follow the eyedrop case, which is happening here soon, I think. That's in Judge Dorrow's court. That's probably not going to be very long, but it's interesting. We've got a couple other guys that will give Daryl Brooks a run for his money as far as just crazy, wacko ideas about how the law should work. Winburn is his name. We'll have to follow that one. Let's see. DUIA thinks the bomb threat was a direct message to cousin Eddie. Couldn't you just send that with a pizza? That seems it would be better received. Let's see. I tried to make a pet pic, but I don't know. It's not there. Maybe Scott has to approve it. I think Samad has to approve the post initially on Facebook. Let me just double check. Let's see. Nope. I'm seeing a bunch of pictures. Oh, there's the bear video. Yeah, good stuff on Facebook. If you're on there, we can catch up over there as well. Koberger trial is in June as well. There's just going to be a hearing, always on go. If he doesn't waive his right to a speedy trial, we could have court pretty soon. But I think he will. I think they've already waived one of the right to a speedy. What was it? The first one. It wasn't the overall right to a speedy trial, but he waived one of his rights so they could review some stuff. His lawyer did that when his first appearance. Lori and Chad in court. When does that happen? That's not going to be televised is the only problem, Hannah, unless the judge has a change of heart, which I hope he does. But that would also be a fun one to watch. Okay. Pink is the 24-month member badge. There it is. Sarah Boone is going to be so exciting. Probably will be delayed again. And Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell I'm interested in as well. Who is DUI guy? Jenny, I believe he's a lawyer that specializes in DUI defense. I think he became famous when he was in the courtroom in the Depp Heard trial and provided some analysis there. I think a lot of jury analysis and things like that. Saturday 3, when will court resume? Very soon. Very soon. We've got people milling around outside, walking back into court. I think it's going to happen here soon. Welcome to our new members, to our Crime Chat family. Hit the like button as you come in. Thank you, Sharon. Appreciate that. He's a law tuber. He is. He's sort of like James in the court. James from the court, who is also here today. He was there this morning. I saw both of them online doing live streams from outside the courtroom right after the bomb threat came in. If you're on an iPhone, I don't think there's an option to become a member. You have to use a computer. That's what I did. Thanks, Queen Olive. I think you're right. iPhone just doesn't play nice with it. Brooks set a high bar to beat Hip Hop Flip Flop. I agree. I love the name, by the way. He did set a high bar, but Winburn was actually doing Brooks before Brooks was doing Winburn. Does that make sense? Winburn has all the signs. He has all the arguments, self-representation, everything. He's been through more lawyers than Sarah Boone. It's got everything in that trial. So we'll have to look at that one. I want to be a law tuber. Do it, Jenny. Do it. Any update on the bomb threat? I just got out of a meeting. Denise, I think the building's been cleared. Everyone's filing back into court right now. We're waiting for everyone, mostly probably the jury, to get set, and then the judge will come in and bring everything back to order. I'll be in Idaho at least a week for the dumbbells, says Kathy. iDrop trial starts next week and lasts a month. So we need this one to sort of wrap up. Jenny, with it starting next week, I think that's jury selection, right? Is it actually going to start trial, like opening statements next week? That's as far as what we can guess. Get the GSR specialist to check everyone's hands before they can enter. Lori, it's okay. Judge is not back yet. It should be any moment now, but Judge isn't here quite yet. What did I miss? Was there a bomb? Savas gun. We know that there was a threat that was deemed credible enough to evacuate the building. So everyone was kicked out. The police went in, did their job, and said everything's good, and are letting people back in right now. So people are filing into the courtroom. I know the public. I guess everyone who got kicked out, when you come back in, you don't just get like, oh, I was in before. Is my pass still good? They're going through that process again. First come, first serve. So we might see a whole new set of people in the gallery here as we go back into court. But it was a mad scramble apparently to rush to be first in line. Let's see. DUI was getting info from out. Let's see. DUI guy was getting info out of that Depp courtroom when he wasn't supposed to be. Not a good guy in your opinion, Ed. I didn't follow him during that trial at all. I did follow the trial, but not him, so I'm not aware of what happened there. DUI guy is from Louisville, Kentucky. In Johnny Depp trial, he tried to be different, so he spent the whole time describing jury reactions. Yeah, and a lot of, if you guys follow Rakita Law online, I think he sort of went off on DUI guy last night, in a big way, like 30-minute rant, lots of curse words. Lots of cursey words. and then today DUI guy was back on his channel and they were talking again. So I guess that's it. Where do they put the jurors when there's a bomb threat? Well, first they put them in the jury room and then they probably moved them to a safe location, separate from all the people. Do we know where Alex spent all the money he took? Rick, that's a great question. Where's the $10 million? Because it's where he spent it doesn't quite add up. And just saying, I had a drug addiction doesn't cover those millions. I think that the common belief, especially if you follow some of the podcasts about the Murdaugh murders, is that there might have been a lot of hush money paid to a lot of different people. And that you can really burn through cash when you're paying people off. Prosecution told us every time Alex is in the hot seat, violence erupts. They did. Yeah, but I don't think they'll be able to go to the jury and say, see, we told you so. They're not going to do that. Alex gambled it. That's another quick way to burn through cash. Okay, trial starts on the 13th for the eye drop case. Maybe we can get done soon. I don't know. Egg salad and 2 clementines for lunch. Sounds delicious. I went with the salad, which no one cares, but I'll tell you anyway. Had lettuce, had shredded mozzarella or shredded cheddar cheese, little cherry tomatoes, had sliced avocado, hard-boiled egg, and turkey, deli turkey meat. That was pretty yummy. And of course, I added pickles on top of it, spicy maple bourbon pickles from Walmart. And it all went together very well. No dressing. I like it pretty plain too. I figure if I'm going to eat the salad, dressing would just negate all the calories and everything that I'm saving. Looks like we're back. Let's listen in. He doesn't look fazed at all. See what's happening here. I think audience members are still sort of filing into the gallery, just giving everyone a chance to sit down. It's gorgeous in North Carolina today. 71 degrees at my house.
You may now be seated.
Yes, welcome everybody who's new. Great to have you here. This is a fun place to watch trials.
We'll bring the jury.
Let's see if he makes any comments. I'm going to switch to this view right here just for a second. Turn that on, this off. Still getting text to the burner phone right now, by the way. No vest on Alec. Everything looks pretty much normal.
The jury is present, sir.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We're now ready to proceed, and counsel, you may proceed.
All right, Agent Udak. Before we get into
No
that
comments.
there,
No
I think you're
comments.
explaining your duties. Let's just start there again. What
Sure.
are your duties at SLED, sir?
In computer crimes, I'm responsible for examining digital evidence, be it cell phones, computers, vehicle infotainment systems. I also respond to network intrusion incidents, and I'm evidence custodian.
Okay. And in the course of your duties at SLED, did you have occasion to come into contact with a 2021 Chevrolet Suburban that was driven by the defendant on the night of the murders?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And what was your role with that vehicle? What did you do with that vehicle?
I was contacted about potentially removing the infotainment system for examination. However, it was unsupported by the tool I use, so I was asked to still remove said infotainment and OnStar systems to be sent off for further examination.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 444. Do you recognize that document, sir?
Yes, that's a SLED property receipt that I filled out with the information for the infotainment module and the OnStar module.
And is that the document you filled out when you removed that infotainment center?
Donna,
Yes,
thanks
it
for
is.
becoming a
What
member.
else did you remove?
Thank you very much.
Infotainment module and an OnStar module.
And you just testified that SLED did not have any tools that gave you the ability to actually analyze those items. Is that correct?
Correct. The software I have access to, which as far as I know is basically the only software, it was unsupported by that at the time.
And do you know if even today that software supports this particular vehicle?
I don't believe it is.
Okay. All right. I'm going to show you what's been marked for ID only at this point. Items 447 and 448. Let's see if you recognize those items. So,
Yes, I do. It's the infotainment module and the OnStar module.
okay. And those are those the items that you removed from that 2021 Suburban?
Yes, they are.
Okay. I'm going to ask you is let's start with the entertainment center. I believe there is a
Trying to
serial
sync everything up
number
here.
on that.
Just 1 minute.
Could you read that serial number on the infotainment center to into the record, please?
432-031-217-0000-296.
Okay. And your exhibit 444, which is your paperwork you filled out and removed it. Did you write that serial number on that paperwork?
Yes, I did.
All right. And you don't have to read it out loud again, but can you compare the serial number for the infotainment center on your property sheet with the serial number on that box and tell me if they match?
They do.
I think we're matched
What's
up here.
the other item?
We're going to switch
47,
audio
what is that?
sources.
The
It's a little bit.
LG OnStar module.
Okay. And does that have serial number somewhere on it?
There we go.
It does, but I cannot read it in the bag.
Would you be able to do anything to help you read it? Is that, if we open it up, would it make it easier?
Yeah, if I could remove it.
All right. Do you have any
Yes,
knife on you that you can
I
open
do.
that up?
He's got a knife. First witness to actually have a knife on him to open stuff up. How'd he get it through security? We don't know. The court was out for about 2 hours for the threat,
It looks like you're doing
including
something else
lunch.
there. We'll just put
It
record.
appears to be a Federal Bureau of Investigation evidence tape that's actually right over the serial number, and the letters in federal are preventing me from reading it. So
Is it able?
I
can you peel it up a little
don't-
bit? It's not possible. It's not possible.
We're going to get this evidence thrown out because the FBI taped over the serial number.
it does not appear that's coming up.
All right. But did you read the, excuse me, on your property receipt, could you read the serial number on your property receipt for the OnStar?
Yes. It is 009 Victor India Echo Yankee 519052.
All right. And to the best of your knowledge, is the unit you're holding that exact unit you took out of that vehicle?
Yes, and for the letters and numbers of the serial number, I can see what I can see does match up.
All right. All right. At this time, say we move to introduce exhibit, the property receipt, 444.
Let's see if they... no objections. Let's go see if they're going to make a stink about it. Say, no, we need to verify it's the exact one. FBI has never made a mistake. Everyone knows that.
All right. And I'm
And
gonna
anyone
show
who knows
you
otherwise has disappeared.
What's
And no
been
one's seen them
marked
again.
as the exhibit 445, 445. And let me see if you just recognize that document.
Yes, I do.
All right. And is that a document that you personally prepared?
No, it's not.
All right, but is that another property receipt?
Yes, it is.
And are those records that SLED, property receipts, are those records SLED keeps in the normal course of business?
Yes.
Okay. And do you recognize the name and signature of who did prepare that receipt?
Yes.
Who was that?
Lieutenant Britt Duff.
Okay. And what does that property receipt represent?
It appears to be representing that GM infotainment module and the LG OnStar module, changing custody for the purpose of providing to the FBI for examination.
And do you know how those two things were sent to the FBI?
I do not.
All right. And the serial number.
Alex
The
rocking
GM
right now.
infotainment serial number. You don't have to read it again, but could you compare that to the serial number on the infotainment center?
They match.
Okay. And then I know you couldn't read the full serial number on the OnStar, but the letters that you can see, can you compare those with the serial number on the second property receipt?
For the ones I can see, they do match.
Okay. All right. And at this time, I'm going to move to introduce Exhibit 445 into evidence.
No objection.
Admitted without objection.
All right. And at this time, I'm just going to move that items 447 and 448 be marked for ID only at this point.
You don't have to move for them to be marked for ID only.
Yes, sir. We're just going to mark them for ID only at this point.
You can mark them for ID at any
That's really
time.
for this witness hearing.
They just have to be
Anything by
marked
the
before you
defense?
move them into evidence.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Your next witness.
I hear a lot of squeaking. I think it's the judge's chair, honestly. I think he's sort of rocking back and forth. We know it does recline just a little bit. Oh, nice, we got a close-up of the tissue. We needed that, didn't we? Thank you, Adam, for the pinned message at the top of chat. That'll show everybody just who's testifying right now. SLED agent number 347294.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I will.
If you would, please, sir, be seated. State your name and then spell your last name. Put in, please.
We've switched to from the lady who speaks the record to someone who types the record. Let's see, is this guy? He is wearing a pin. It's a small one.
My name is Dwight Falkowski. Last name spelled Falkofske.
All right. Mr.
Adam, we're gonna
Falkowski,
need a
how are you
new
doing this
message here.
afternoon?
Doing good.
All right. Where are you employed, sir?
I am employed with the FBI.
Okay. And what is your job title there?
I'm an electronics engineer.
Okay. And what unit of the FBI are you employed in?
The Electronic Device Analysis Unit.
Okay. And what does the Electronic Device Analysis Unit do at the FBI?
We collect data off of cell phones and other mobile devices, and in my case, vehicle systems, mobile devices in general that can't be collected by commercial tools.
All right. And so the FBI has a unit dedicated to extracting data off certain devices that is otherwise unavailable. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And you kind of mentioned it, but specifically, what is your role in this unit?
I serve a role as an automotive forensic specialist.
Okay. And what does that entail? What does that mean?
So I take a look at automotive systems and extract data off the memory components of those systems. And then from the images we get from those memory components, I will take a look at there, find the data that we're interested in finding, and we will create parsing tools that will pull out that data and take it from a computer format to a human readable format.
Let's explain that a little more. You said a parsing tool. What is that? Explain that to the jury what that is, please.
Okay, so a parsing tool is, in this case, a computer script that I'm writing or I have written that will go in and look at the collected binary image, the flash memory image.
He's over speaking the jury.
And go in and either create a file system or just go raw into the binary and search for data that is of interest to us. This is data we've researched and found. And it'll take that data out of the system and again put it into a human readable format.
It basically digs through a log and finds little bits of data that you want,
so that
and just
we can understand
sorts it so you can see it.
And in its most basic format, data is stored how?
In binary.
And what does binary mean?
Binary is just zeros and ones, what a computer reads.
Okay. And a parsing tool,
this is the first time we've seen him.
It helps you take that binary
this is new evidence
information
for all
and
of us.
translate it into information that you can read and understand. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. All right. And have you, first of all, tell us a little bit about your background. What education and training have you had in this area?
I have a bachelor's of science degree in electrical engineering. Okay. And if you'll give me one moment, I have my CV here, and I'll list out training I've taken with the FBI.
Oh, please. Here we go. I think he's going to be an expert. So the testimony he's going to offer, I believe, is going to be the location data and timestamps of Alex's car. This is important because it's going to match up or not match up with his alibi, which is going to be really
August
interesting.
2016, I took the Digital Evidence Management Systems training. That's to store data on our electronic evidence management system. In August 2016, completed digital evidence handling. October 2016, legal ethics training. August 2017, CDART mentorship under FE. The CDART mentorship is an internal designation for, at the time, I was working as a contractor to the FBI, and this training allowed contractors to handle evidence, and that was the extent of that training. Also in August 2017, completed the CDART proficiency testing, and I've also testified as an expert witness in September 2019.
Okay, and what?
This is his second time
Do you recall,
as an
not
expert witness?
specifically, but generally, what were you qualified as an expert witness in 2019?
I don't recall the exact name they gave me for the expert witness, but I serve as, what I've told them, I serve as an electronics engineer, automotive forensics specialist.
Okay. And how would you best describe your expertise that you're going to talk about today?
Okay.
How would you personally describe it?
I take a look at automotive systems, and I go in there and find the data of interest.
Let me just say,
the types of data would be
this guy has the most
things
underwhelming
like,
CV I've
connected
heard for an
devices,
expert
cell
witness.
phones, thumb drives. From cell phones, that can also collect things like call records and contact lists, also navigation data, locations of the vehicle or destinations that the user may have entered in the system. I go find that data in these systems, and I will write these parsing tools that I've mentioned to go ahead and pull those out. That's generally the extent.
So would automotive forensic specialist be descriptive of what you do?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, the state would move to enter Mr. Falkowski as an expert in the area of automotive forensic specialist.
No objection.
Okay, so they're going to allow him. He gets his second start on his belt. Hopefully he can remember what his
so
expert
let's
witness
talk a little more about
category is for his CV next time.
the mechanics.
But we'll get the
of how
information
you
either way.
obtain this data and what you do. And just talking, not specifically in this case, but just kind of generally in your unit.
Okay.
What do you do? When you receive a device from a vehicle, first of all, what kind of devices do you receive from vehicles?
They tend to be an infotainment center, which can be basically the brains of the system that puts on some of these modern cars, that puts up the screen, that shows your music. If it's got navigation, it'll show navigation. It's the computer brain of that system.
Okay.
Also take a look at components such as the telematics box, which you'll hear about, like the OnStar module in this case. And those will tend to have connected device services and sometimes location data as well.
Okay. And just generally speaking, how do you access the information stored on these devices?
First thing we do is what we call data extraction, and data extraction involves basically going in and finding the flash memory components on this computer, the infotainment system or the telematics box, and we have different methods to extract that data. We have software methods. We have methods where we'll connect to the circuit board, or when sometimes we will just remove the chip and read it with a reader.
And let me stop you real quick. This jury has heard testimony about cell phone extractions and how cell phones are extracted. And you mentioned sometimes you can use a software method. How is that analogous to how cell phone data is normally obtained in an extraction?
If I can compare it to a commercial tool like Celebrite, a software
he said,
solution,
if I can.
you could
I thought he said
plug
something
into
else.
the system while it's operating in order to get into the system and extract the data you need.
But some of these automotive devices are far more unique than an average.
I thought he had like a
cell
Tourette's
phone,
moment.
correct?
Yes.
And therefore, is there an off-the-shelf ready system that can access most vehicles? To your knowledge?
There is one commercial company called Burla that does have a tool that is used in the field. However, we only accept the devices at EDAU for systems that there is no support for.
Okay. So you mentioned this company Burla, which does produce a commercially available software that can extract data from some vehicles, correct?
Some vehicles, yes.
But it does not support the 2021 Chevrolet Suburban, correct?
That's correct.
All right, and that's how the device ended up with you, correct?
That's correct.
All right, so I kind of stopped you there. And if a software solution isn't available, like Burla, what are some of the other methods that you use to pull data off of some of these automotive systems?
I mentioned such as attaching wires to a circuit board and extracting data from the memory component, or also removing the chip from the board and putting it in a reader and reading the chip, the flash memory chip directly.
Okay. All right. And let's talk more about what you did in this case. When you attempted to access the data for the 2021 Suburban, did you encounter any problems?
Yes, we ran into our first instance of data being encrypted on a vehicle.
Okay. And that's not something you'd run into before?
Not on vehicles.
Whoa.
And briefly, explain to the jury what you mean by encrypted, please.
So when a system encrypts the data, it takes basically a code word such as called a key and scrambles the data using that key so that it can't be written unless you have that key. And the key will, to read it back, you require the key to unlock the data and see it back in its regular form.
Okay. And you discovered this data on this Chevy Suburban was encrypted, correct?
That's correct.
All right.
It's the first time they'd ever seen that?
I'm going to show you, they've been marked for ID only, 448 and 447. And I'm going to take a look at them, see if you recognize these items, please.
French Fry, you just got gifted a membership by TW. Thank you, TW, for your support. Generous donation.
This is the OnStar module that I processed. And this is the infotainment system that I processed.
They ripped the computer, the infotainment system, and the seatbelt out of this car. Basically totaled it.
We have an FBI identifier tag on here, and my personal identifier symbols are on here.
And that's on both of those devices?
On both units.
All right. At this time, State would move to enter exhibits 447 and 448 into evidence.
No objection.
All right, get it.
Okay, so they're
right,
admitting
so
the
let's talk
computer
about,
inside the car.
You say when you initially tried to access the data on these, they were encrypted. Can you tell us what the FBI did or what you did to ultimately allow you to be able to access the information?
Involved our greater team to develop a tool that would be able to reach into a live system on one of these vehicles and extract the encryption keys and remove get the encryption keys so then we could decrypt the data that we had collected.
They hacked it.
And was that process ultimately successful?
Yes, it was.
Right. And how long did that take?
Approximately 1 year.
Okay.
Holy cow.
All right. And when you accessed this information and you finally had it decrypted, what types of information did you find? Let's start on the infotainment center. What types of information did you find on there?
So the infotainment center contained connected devices, phones that have been linked by Bluetooth or USB, and associated with some of those devices were call logs and contact lists, and there was also a little bit of location data.
Okay. So you found some call logs, correct?
That's correct.
And how would that infotainment center get call logs? Explain that process. Why would they be on that center?
So a lot of cars that have Bluetooth connectivity will, when you connect the Bluetooth with them, sometimes they will ask you if you want to let the car connect to it or access your data on your phone. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it doesn't ask, but in most cases it'll ask you, and then at that point it'll take things like call logs and pull them from the phone into the computer, the infotainment system.
So Andy, basically, there's a VIP model that you can get that has this by default.
You found some location data, correct?
That's correct.
Do you recall if you found any from the date?
Welcome, Kicksboo. Thank you so much.
June 7th of 2021?
Yes, there was data from that date.
Location data?
Oh, location data, no. Okay. There's not call data.
All right, you found some call data, you found some Bluetooth data, and what kind of Bluetooth data did you find for devices did you find?
It primarily the Bluetooth address of the connecting device.
Okay. Did it provide you any information of when a device may have been connected to the infotainment center?
No, there was no timestamps with that data.
Okay. All right. But there's another thing, another type of data you found on this infotainment center, correct?
Yes, we additionally looked for vehicle information regarding the state of the vehicle.
Okay. Explain to the jury, what does that mean?
So what we were looking for on this car was something to show if the car was moving, if doors were opened or closed, windows up and down. We searched for this type of data on this vehicle.
Okay. And did you find some of that data?
We did. We found what we call states of the vehicle, and in this case, it was more granular things, such as, and one of the ones we're interested in looking at is the shift lever going in and out of park, kind of giving an indication.
And we'll talk more about that in a minute, but
Okay.
Would you say that there was a lot of this vehicle status data that was stored?
Yes, this vehicle stores a voluminous amount of data and some logs.
Defense has to know this in discovery. They give all this over.
The majority of it really useful when you try to okay. Did you attempt to pare down the data you're looking at to find potentially useful information?
Yes, we combed through the data and we looked for data that matched our testing of a similar vehicle or identical type vehicle to be able to identify messages in this log that can be attributed to the vehicle states.
Well, let's talk about that. You mentioned
all clear, Nems girl.
testing.
Nothing was found.
What do you mean by testing? What did you guys do to test this?
We obtained a identical 2021 Suburban vehicle with the same build out.
Okay.
And we drove it multiple times and extracted data from it multiple times in a series of tests designed to try to understand what is going on inside the system.
Okay. So this is simple testing. So you go out and drive it, and you'd record, you knew when you were driving, so you could record times, correct?
We record times, locations, yes.
And then you could go back in and pull that data off the infotainment center of the test vehicle, correct?
That's correct.
And then you can compare that to the logs that you guys wrote saying we did this at this time, correct?
That's correct.
And you what could you do with that comparison? What did that help you with?
So that helped us identify in the logs laid out states, very granular states of
when you say granular, I apologize when I stop you, but I want to make sure
Thank you, Katrina.
we understand everything
Gifted
you're saying.
5 memberships.
When you say granular, what do you mean by that?
I'll explain a few of the states to give you an example.
Okay.
When the vehicle first, say you open the door and you see the screen turn on the car, that would be maybe 1 or 2 of the states that the system tells me it's waking up, a message saying it's waking up, then a message saying I'm showing my animation video on the screen as it starts to boot up, and then eventually, like if the car is being, and then other states of the car, such as the in and out of park, a lot of the states only mean something very small in the whole scheme of how the car is operating.
Like lots of
Very
puzzle
specific
pieces you have to assemble
data.
together.
Okay. And there's a lot of it, correct?
There's a lot of them.
And so you had to kind of figure out a way to kind of pare that data down into something that's useful for you to interpret, correct?
That's correct.
All right. And how did you do that?
Initially, we wrote a utility into our parser that would go through, first of all, and select all the messages we found of interest that indicated some sort of state of the vehicle. And then we attempted to take that data and put meaning to it. And it was a challenging process, let's put it that way.
Thank you, Miss Chris.
But ultimately, do you feel like,
membership.
at least for certain types of events, you're able to draw some conclusions about what was going on with the vehicle certain times?
Certain events were much more specific about certain of the things that were going on with the car, and were clearer.
And when you were asked, the question of, can you use any of this information to determine when a vehicle could potentially be moving? Is that something that you looked for in this data?
We were looking for that data. We found something close to that data.
Okay. And in your testing and analysis, what did you determine would be the best indicator to you, looking at the data, of when the vehicle is moving?
message indicating whether the car was in park or out of park.
Okay. And so you found a reliable indicator in your opinion, indicates the vehicle would likely or possibly be moving, correct?
That's correct.
Now, all you said was this particular message says it's either in park or out of park, correct?
That's all it says.
And it doesn't necessarily say whether it's in drive, correct?
That's right. I don't know what gear it's in.
Okay. But you can tell when it's out of park.
Correct.
And can you
This
tell
is gonna be
from that
interesting.
whether
I
the
wanna get
vehicle
the
is
facts.
actually physically moving?
I cannot.
Okay. I am. And at the end of this analysis, did you prepare data and a parser report?
Katerina
to send
Scarcella
to
just
SLED,
sent a super
at the
sticker
end
with
of your analysis?
6.99.
Okay. I'm going to show you. what's
Thank you,
been marked
Katerina.
as exhibit,
Appreciate the super sticker.
Keep
it up.
443.
Thank you very
I'm
much.
gonna see if you recognize that.
Keep it up as a sticker.
Yes, this is
it
a
says.
copy that I validated earlier today against the original
Okay.
evidence that was submitted.
So that contains the information you provided, SLED, correct?
That's correct.
And generally speaking, what is contained on this CD?
It is the our unit's derivative evidence results of what was extracted and reported for both the OnStar module and the infotainment system.
Okay. All right. And so this provides both, we said there's voluminous raw data that came out of this vehicle, correct?
Yes.
And it includes a full copy of that, right?
There is.
But also includes a report that kind of pares that down into more useful information to you, correct?
Yes.
And what did you call that report again? Was it the HTML report?
Oh, the format was in HTML, so you could open it with a browser, yes.
And what tool did you use to help you prepare that condensed report?
That was the parsing tool that developed that.
And that's what you talked to about at the beginning of your testimony with the jury, and that's a way to use software to help pare down the data into something useful, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
HTML is
At this time,
hypertext markup
state
language.
would move,
It's basically the language that a lot of websites are written in that just display well on a screen. So it's details that the jury doesn't need, but at least we got through them.
I'm going to show you it's been marked as Exhibit 449, and just
You guys are amazing.
just
Thank you so
describe
much to
what
all of
that
you.
is to the jury, please.
Okay, this is a spreadsheet that basically shows many of the states of the vehicle that we were looking at in testing the test and running our tests on the test vehicle. This is an analysis of the states that were on there, and this is what we were using to develop the understanding
Linda
of what
LaFerriere
these
just
states meant.
sent a super sticker with 4.99.
Will be a shorter way to
You guys
describe
are
it.
amazing.
More simple way.
Thank you, Jenny says, and Linda. Appreciate both of you.
It's an analysis of this state machine,
Would it
of the
be-
state vehicle states.
I've got to fix the voice so we can understand it.
This would represent some of the research that you and your team.
That is
performed.
research. Yeah, that's a research document.
Okay. At this time, state would move Exhibit 449.
No objection. Submitted.
He's not good, but we're getting the information in that we need.
And we talked about call
What the
logs.
state does with it, that's going to be
You
the
found some
trick.
call logs, correct?
Yes.
On this vehicle. And where did those call logs come from again?
They were stored within the infotainment system
And where did the infotainment system get them?
from an attached phone.
Okay, all right. And I'm going to show you what's been marked as States 446. And let me see if you recognize that document and where it's from.
Yes, these were call logs that we recovered off the infotainment system.
Okay. And those are two specific calls, correct?
That's correct.
All right. And what are the date and time of those two calls?
The first one, June 7th, 2021 at 22:06:14.
And what was the number dialed on that one?
9111.
Okay, 3 ones, okay.
And then another one shortly thereafter at 22:06:18.
Such a hard number to remember.
A couple seconds later for just 911.
And in your research and testing, can you determine of when these call logs would have been pulled off the phone that made these calls?
No, at some point, the system would have downloaded that information from the phone. I don't know what time that occurred.
Okay, all right. And at this time, I would move Exhibit 446.
No objection.
So admitted.
All right. All right, and I'm going to show you what I believe is our last document. And this is Exhibit 442, and I'm going to ask if you recognize this document.
Yes.
And what is that document?
I've titled this document the 2021 Chevy Suburban log file excerpts from June 7th, 2021.
All right. And
I'm taking away his titling privileges.
A condensed
It's an awful title.
version of data from that original, that CD that we showed you a minute ago?
Yes.
Okay. And what is that condensed to? Why did you condense it to that particular data for this particular printout?
This spreadsheet was the data that our parsing tool was looking for amongst all the log files and extracting those out.
We talked about this a minute ago, but if you're trying to determine when this vehicle moved, you identified a key indicator. When the vehicle may have possibly moved, you identified a key indicator in that data that would indicate to you, in your opinion, that the vehicle could have possibly been moving, correct?
That's correct. In or out of park.
Okay. And when you produced that report, did you color code certain columns?
Yes, I hand-colored the columns on here that indicated those for clarity.
And I think I meant to say rows, because they're
rows, yes.
My apologies. And you color-coded certain ones.
I don't know what
That's
language
correct.
that translated into. I think it was Finnish, Heather.
At this time,
I'm sorry for that, but thank you for the generous super chat.
No objection.
It's admitted.
We're going to publish this. And I'll need the computer, please.
Thank you, Last Poet. You have been here the whole time. It's been a fun couple months. It's exciting to have you here and grow and see it happen. I credit it all to you. It wouldn't have happened without you here, Last Poet. I'm sorry, Heather. I don't know what that voice was. I need to choose one that's understandable.
So we'll keep moving. I'm going to need that exhibit back, please. And we're going to switch to Elmo. Once we get the computer going, it'll give a better view, but for the
I'll
moment,
fix
we'll
it
look
tonight.
at the Elmo. Okay. Can you read that document on your screen, Mr. Fulton?
I think I could read that.
Okay. So let's just start at the top. And I think you read the title, this 2021 Chevy Suburban log files, correct?
That's correct.
All right. And then we see a row below that that looks like descriptors, correct?
Correct.
All right. Well, let's just start on the left. Let's explain what these mean. And we see on the far left it says line and then a number symbol or hashtag. What does that mean?
Okay, I'm going to explain that using the next column over file name first. The file name indicates the particular log file that the data was recovered from. There was numbered log files in the system. And for this date, there were 2 different log files that contain this data. And the line number indicates the physical or the actual line number starting from 1 at the top that data was located on.
Okay. And then we see the date next to that. And what is that again, specifically, that date and time?
That is the timestamp of the actual log entry.
All right.
Alex,
let's
paying
switch
close attention
the
to
computer,
this.
please, and this will make this a little bit easier to see, hopefully. Well, if I can get to...
Thank you, Tar Healer, for gifting membership. Gabrielle, you are the winner.
Okay, and I think I'm at the top. All right, can you still, is that a little better for you to see, Mr.
I can
Poplar?
see it fine.
Okay. All right, it looks like somehow I managed to mess up the spreadsheet. My apologies. All right, so event type. What does event type mean?
Basically, the event type is a part of the log entry that describes what sort of event is going on. it describes the event.
Okay. Event description, what does that mean?
It's just a longer, more verbose version of the event type.
And event value, what does that mean?
That is the actual value of the event, rather than this is the event and this is what its value is.
Okay. When you say value, what do you mean by that?
It can be a 1, a 0, a true, a false, or a textual indicator of the system state.
All right. And you say 1 or 0, true or false. You mentioned a while ago that data is always binary, right?
Yes.
And binary is always 1 or 0, correct?
In case a lot of these are 1 and 0.
Okay. And that's how data is typically stored in computer systems,
Typically,
correct?
yeah.
Okay. All right. So finally, on the far right, it says raw line from service log file. What does that mean?
That is actual line from the file copied verbatim.
Okay. And so that's the actual data log that you pulled out of the system?
That is correct.
Okay. And it includes a timestamp as well, correct?
That's
Welcome,
correct.
Mario Line.
Okay.
Welcome to the gallery. Please take your
let's
seat.
just look at the top here. And you said you added in some color coding, correct?
That's correct.
And the top line appears to be red. That's what, 83, 84, correct?
Yes.
And 86, 76 is also red, correct?
That's correct.
All right. Why did you color code those red? What is that?
Those were basically messages that were showing the system starting up. The computer for the infotainment system initiated a boot sequence.
All right. And did your testing identify a number of ways
there.
the system on this vehicle could start up?
It didn't know what to
we
say.
observed it starting up with several ways.
Okay.
I don't think we know all the ways it may start up.
Okay. Well, what are some of the ways you observed that it could start up?
Thank you, Cake
Just
Spook.
things
I'm
such
gonna
as
need a
opening the door of the
translation.
vehicle or getting in the vehicle and turning it on.
Okay. And when we say system startup, we mean the infotainment center.
This is referring to the infotainment center, not the whole vehicle.
Okay. So it's not necessarily we're turning the vehicle on every time we see a red color there. Correct?
That's correct. Just the infotainment system.
It could be someone just opening the door, correct?
Yep.
All right. And that represents, in some cases, where the screen in that car just kind of lights up if the door opens or for another reason, correct?
That would be an indicator, yes.
And are there certain occasions where the system can kind of start up on its own?
There's some unexplained times when the system seems to initiate a boot for no apparent reason. It's theoretical on what the car is doing at that point.
Okay. All right. And then below that, at line 9142 and 9144, it looks like you color-coded those two lines as blue, correct?
That's correct.
All right. And why did you color-code those lines as blue?
Those indicated these vehicle parked message that we found to be very useful in determining potentially the car moving.
Okay. And this is something that
Why didn't they contact
you
the
found in your
manufacturer?
testing and analysis, correct?
That's correct.
That was reliable?
This is a reliable message.
All right. And reliably means what?
See you, Ivan. Thanks for being here.
Reliably tells you whether the car was shifted into park or shifted out of park.
Okay. All right. And looks like lines 9142 and 9144 both occurred at 12/21/43 on June 7th of 2021. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. And is that local time?
That is local time.
All right. And what does that mean? What does vehicle parked true mean?
Vehicle park true means the shift lever of the vehicle was placed into the park position.
Okay. So the vehicle was shifted into park.
That's correct.
All right. But I see it looks like the exact same message on both lines, correct?
That's correct.
Why do we have the exact same message on both lines?
If you take a look, scroll to the right on the one that's showing the raw values, you'll see that the messages are not identical. They're from two pieces of the subsystem reporting the same event.
Okay, so this particular log, and maybe some other ones, get recorded in different places on this infotainment center.
There's a lot of duplication of messages.
Okay.
Thanks for the translation, Weatherwatch. Appreciate
And
that.
they don't, if they
Thank
had
you,
the same
Cake Spook.
timestamp, how would you interpret that if you see duplicate messages with the exact same timestamp?
I would typically consider that just a single event.
Okay, and so let's look down below that, and I see multiple things happening, and I'm highlighting it, on lines 9148 to 9156 at 12:33 and 23 seconds, and I see a number of things happen there with the same timestamp, correct?
That's correct.
And in your analysis, in your opinion, when you see a group of messages happening at the same time, what's the best way to interpret that information?
You have to kind of take a look at them as an aggregate.
Okay. And so you kind of look at all these messages as a whole to interpret what they mean, correct?
That's correct.
Rather than each one individually.
That's correct.
Okay. So let's look at it. Looking at lines 9148 and all those lines that are timestamped identically, which goes down to line 9159, what does that group of messages, in your opinion, mean was happening on this vehicle at that time on June 7th of 2021?
It looked like the infotainment computer was beginning a power down sequence.
Okay. Okay, and we go down to 1242, and we see a few lines in 9167, 9459, and 9716. We see a few of those red color-coded lines, correct?
That's correct.
All right, and again, what does that mean? Why are those coded that way?
The infotainment system initiated a boot-up sequence starting up.
Okay, but any number of reasons of why that would have potentially booted up at that time?
Yeah, it could be a number of reasons.
Okay. All right, but then at 9954 and 9956, we see some blue color-coded messages, correct?
That's correct.
All right, and what do those mean? It says vehicle parked false. What does that mean?
Vehicle parked false means the car was shifted out of park.
Okay, and that's at what time?
18:23:57.
All right, help us out. What's that in civilian time?
6:23:57
PM?
p.m.
On what date?
On June 7th, 2021.
And again, we see two identical messages, correct?
Yes.
But you would interpret that as one event, correct?
Yes.
And what is that event again?
It's a vehicle taken out of park.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to need the prosecution to really spell this out on the timeline, especially correlating with other events that they want us to relate
And
this
we
to.
see a few things happen. Looks like 1853 and 1911. Some of those red color coded. What's your interpretation for lines? Looks like 396 and 984 on June 7th there. What's going on in those lines?
It's another infotainment system boot up, a startup sequence.
Okay. And then we see another red event at 2103:44, correct?
Yes.
And what is that?
Another boot up sequence.
Okay. And from any number of reasons, correct?
Correct.
Could be if someone just opened the car door, correct?
Yes.
And then we see a group of messages. Looks like a few at 2104:05, and then a few at 2104:18. Quite a few more at 2104:18.
Let it be summer. The police cleared the building that runs back.
PM, correct?
That is correct.
All right. And that group of messages at 9:04:18 p.m. What, in the aggregate, what is that telling you is going on with this vehicle at that time?
One moment.
I have the times highlighted there.
Yeah, at the 21:04:18, those ones looked like the system was, but prior to that, it seemed to be shutting down, and then it stopped and started coming back up.
Okay. And so it seems to be starting up around 21:04:18, correct?
Yes.
And that'd be consistent with that red coded message we saw a second ago, correct?
Yes.
And it's also consistent with the red coded message at line 1281 at 21:05:56, correct?
What do you mean by consistent with that message?
I'm sorry. Take a look at line 1281. You see that?
Yes, I see 1281. That's the next system startup message.
Okay. And what time is that again?
21:05:56.
All right. And I'm going to do my best, and I'll try to stop you. Let's try to talk in local time.
Okay.
Or civilian time, excuse me.
I'll try to. I'll start processing it that way.
And I make that mistake too. What time is that in civilian time?
That would be 9:05:56
PM?
p.m.
On June 7th?
On June 7th,
Okay.
2021.
This witness is the
Okay.
analyst
And then below
who
that,
analyzed the
we
car.
see a group of messages
computer.
starting at line 1557, and they have an identical time state of what?
9:06 and 44 seconds.
Okay. PM?
PM.
All right. And what is that group of messages telling you at that time?
That looks like the vehicle system is continuing its power-up process.
Okay. All right. And then we see a series of messages that all occur within 2 or 3 seconds, starting at line 1591 at 9:06:48 p.m., and then continuing on through 9:06:49 p.m., and quite a few at 9:06:49 p.m., and then into 9:06:50 p.m., and that's lines roughly 1628 down to 1654. What does that group of messages tell you is occurring?
So at that point, part way through those message sets, it actually has an engine running event, so the car has been turned on.
Okay, so in your opinion, the vehicle is running at approximately 9:06:49 to 9:06:50 p.m.?
Yes.
Okay.
That's when
On
he started
June
the
7th?
car
Yes.
to leave Moselle after the murders.
All right, and then we see at line 1670 and 1672, it looks like another couple of blue-colored messages, correct?
Yes.
And again, what are those blue-colored messages? What do they indicate to you?
The vehicle park message.
All right, and it says vehicle parked false. What does that mean?
The vehicle was taken out of park.
Okay, the vehicle was taken out of park at 9:06 and 50 seconds, correct? PM?
Correct.
All right. On June 7th, correct?
Correct.
All right, and if we look at it on line 1672, the timestamp it has a slightly different color stamp. I don't know if is that viewable on your screen? Yeah. It looks like it's colored more green, correct?
That is correct.
Why did you color that particular block green at line 1672?
I was highlighting events where you could see where the vehicle was taken out of park, and it looks like it was continually used and then put back into park.
Okay. And so, first of all, those two lines at 1670 and 1672, they represent the same event?
They are the same event.
Okay, and that's the vehicle taken out of park, correct?
That's correct.
And you color-coded that green because you wanted to find when the vehicle was put back into park, correct?
Correct. I want to find, yes.
Okay. Because you, in your opinion and your analysis, you've determined that that message is pretty reliable and something we can rely upon to make a determination of when that vehicle.
I'm listening carefully. I think this is important stuff we're going to hear. We have to sort through all the technical stuff to get.
Okay, so
get it.
9:06:50 p.m. the vehicle is taken out of park, and then let's go down the line 1904 and we see another green stamp embedded in a blue line. You see that, sir?
Yes.
And what does that mean to you?
Well, it was the next event where the vehicle went back into park.
Okay. So at what time is that?
At 9:22 and 45 seconds p.m.
Vehicle's put back into park, correct?
That's correct.
All right. And in your opinion, could the vehicle have been moving between those two times?
Yes, it could have. I have no evidence of that.
Okay. All right. But the vehicle's out of park for that?
It is out of park.
Okay. And that's something, in your opinion, we can rely upon, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So 9:06 to 9:22.
Roughly, I'm not going to ask you for exact seconds, roughly how much time passes between the vehicle taking out of park at line 1672 and put back into park at line 1904?
Approximately 16 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to pull up Google Chat. And I'm going to show you the difference, the distance between Alex Moselle property, or not Google Chat. We're going to pull up Google Earth. Sorry, Alex Moselle property and his mom's house.
All right, and I'm going to scroll down
here to pull these up.
And I'm scroll down to line 3059 and 3061, and I see some more green colored blocks here, correct?
Yes.
All right, and what are those blocks, what information is contained in those blocks, what messages?
Again, it's the vehicle in or out of park messages.
Okay, and so, and what time is that, those two messages at 3061?
3061 shows 9:43:05
PM?
PM.
And that's June 7th,
June
correct?
7th, 2021.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but at that particular event, what happens with the vehicle?
The vehicle goes out of park.
Okay. And then the next line below that, what's the time on that, the date time on that?
9:43 and 59 seconds, June 7th, 2021. That's PM.
Okay. And what happens with the vehicle?
It goes back into park.
Okay. And so roughly how much time passed between those two events?
It looks like just under a minute.
Okay. And you can't tell us whether the vehicle actually moved during that time, correct?
No.
All right. All you can tell us was it was out of park for a little under a minute.
Yes.
All right, and not to put you on the spot, we'll go back up and look real quick. So that's at 9:43:05 p.m., correct?
Correct.
Let's go back and look at the previous vehicle parked at 9:22:45 p.m., and that's line 1904. That's when the vehicle had been placed in the park, correct?
That's correct.
All right, and let's just do some rough math. Do you have a pen? You can write it down if you need to. 9:22:45, the vehicle's in park.
Okay.
9:43:05, the vehicle is now back out of park, correct?
That's correct.
Roughly how much time passes between those two events?
Approximately 21 minutes.
So that accounts for the time he was at his mom's house, 15 to 20 minutes, that the caretaker said he was there that long.
All right, and so the vehicle is out of park for about a minute at lines 3061 and 3079. And then let's scroll down to line 3096 and 3310. What happens with the vehicle there?
The vehicle goes out of park
Okay, at what time?
at 9:44:54 seconds on June 7th, 2021. That's PM.
Going to show you on Google Earth just a
And
little bit
then,
about
the
these
next event
locations.
below that, what occurs there?
Next event is the vehicle goes back into park at, that would be 10 o'clock and 30 seconds,
It's the
36
Moselle
seconds.
property right here.
On June 7th, 2021, PM.
And those are color-coded green because they kind of represent a matching pair, correct?
That's correct.
Of when it went out and when it went back into park, correct?
That's correct.
All right. And roughly, how much time passes between those two events at 9:44 and 10 o'clock of the night of June 7th?
Approximately 16 minutes.
Okay.
So let me show you on the map here. Here's Moselle, and now we're going to go to.
And then let's go down to lines
Yes, let's see, good
3327 and 3328. And those are two more green-colored events that represent that matching pair, correct?
That's correct.
Vehicle out of park
not gonna
and
be
vehicle
that
in
way.
park, correct?
That's correct.
All right. And what are the times associated with those two events?
The vehicle goes out of park at 10:01 and 17 seconds on June 7th, 2021. It's PM. And it goes back into park at 10:01, 29 seconds on June 7th, 2021,
Okay.
PM.
And roughly speaking, how many seconds is that?
Here's his property, and
12
down here is
seconds.
his mom's house, Yosemite Road.
Okay, let's
I'll
go
put the map together and see what the driving time is. Give
to
me
just a
minute
few
for that.
seconds later, lines 3336 and 3340. And we see another matching pair of these green messages, correct?
That's correct.
Out of park and then back into park, correct?
That's correct.
And what are the two times on that particular event?
The vehicle goes out of park at 10:01 and 30 seconds on June 7th, 2021. That's PM.
That's back at
And
Moselle.
it goes back into park at 10:01 and 43 seconds, June 7th.
So maybe I can do the math this time. That's roughly about 13 seconds it's out of park?
That's correct.
Okay.
We positioned the car in just a few seconds.
Okay, and we see a whole bunch of messages again, that a group of messages starting at 22:04:44 and kind of going on until 10:04:44 p.m. and 10:04:47 p.m. We see another group of messages. What does that group of messages generally indicate to you in the aggregate? And that's this group I'll highlight.
3 to 2, engine run false. It looks like the system is powering down.
Okay. Okay, and then we get down to lines 34, 64, and that shows another green color-coded pair of messages, correct?
That's correct.
And again, goes out of park and back into park, correct?
That's correct.
And what are the two times associated with those two messages at 3664 and 3682?
Yes.
I'm sorry, what are those times?
Oh, what are the times?
Yeah.
10:04 and 49, it goes out of park. That's PM on June 7th, 2021. And it goes back into park at 10:05, 55 seconds PM, June 7th, 2021.
All right, and that's roughly more than a minute, correct?
That's correct.
All right, and then let's go down to lines 3490 and 3504.
Well, this is going. Let me show you
another
this.
matching pair in out of park and then into park, correct?
That's correct.
And what are the times associated with those two?
The vehicle goes out of park.
18-mile trip.
10, 11, and 45 seconds.
18-minute trip takes 12 and a half miles.
2021 PM. And then it goes back into park at 10, 12, and 38
down
seconds.
past where
PM,
Maggie's phone was
June 7th,
lost.
2021.
Okay.
Down the main
All right,
road.
and that's roughly
to his mom's
just
house.
under a minute or so?
That's correct.
All right. And we're
Timestamps are lining
to the
up.
end here. Okay, and then we see another message. So first of all, we see some messages that are blue colored at 3506 through 3515. And why are those blue coded instead of green coded for you?
Those are more vehicle park messages, but they appear to be with the, basically duplications of the existing ones.
Okay. So that's just duplicate information, correct?
That's correct.
All right. And then finally, at line 3521, we see the vehicle. What happens with the vehicle at that line?
Okay, it goes out of park at 10:13 and 39 seconds PM on June 7th, 2021.
Did you find a matching kind of pair as we've talked about for when the vehicle goes back into park?
No.
All right.
No log message was present for that.
Okay. Can you explain why that log message may not be present?
We found during the testing of our test vehicle that there are times when the system decides to temporarily stop recording message. The reason is not clear.
Okay. But you do see it come out of park at 10:13:39, correct?
That's correct.
All right. Now, and just to reiterate this, you're just telling us when this vehicle's in and out of park, correct?
That's correct.
Because that's the most reliable piece of information you've been able to deem from this data, correct?
That's correct.
And you can't tell us necessarily where the vehicle's moving, correct?
That's correct.
And you can't tell us if it's moving, or if you see it go out of park, who's shifting the actual gear knob, can you?
No, we don't know who's in the car.
And all you can look at is this particular data, correct?
That's correct.
All right.
The car did verify the caregiver's story of the timelines of how long he was there, and that means he was lying about it, telling people he was there for 30 to 40 minutes and telling her to tell people he was there for 30 to 40 minutes that night.
And just so it's clear, you've determined, you're interpreting this data because you use a test vehicle to see when you see these messages, correct?
That's correct.
All right. And that's why you're giving us these opinions today, correct? From
That's
your
correct.
testing. All right. And when you were using your test vehicle, if you took a vehicle, if you took the vehicle out and drove it, took it out of park, drove it, and then put it back into park, would you find that exact same matching pair of in and out of park messages we just talked through? Correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you weren't able to determine any other data that would reliably tell you if it was moving or not, correct?
That's correct.
All right. But, so if the vehicle's driving and you see that you would see that identical pair of messages like we just talked about.
Yes.
And however, if the car's just stopped and someone shifts it out of park and just sits there with their foot on the brake, and then sometime later puts it back into park, would you see that same matching pair of in park, out of park message and back into park message?
Yes.
You would, okay. All right. Not for mistake, this witness.
By the defense.
Who's going to do it? Who's up? All right. Dick hasn't done much of anything lately, other than maybe leave court early and snooze a bit. Let's see if this line of questioning actually clears up the timestamps for the jury. See if it ends up helping the state more than the defense. When Dick stands up, he's not much taller than when he's seated, but he is standing right now. Getting a few last instructions in to his co-counsel before the questioning begins. I'm surprised that the state, it seems to have not gotten any help from the car manufacturer about decoding those messages. They literally sort of brute forced it. First of all, I think the car manufacturers probably mad that they were hacking into their system to begin with and didn't want to help that way. But they sort of brute forced it and then tried to recreate or interpret the results once they hacked in. And they don't know why they're seeing what they are. We don't know why there are 2 entries for each line. We don't know why it doesn't show this or show that. You think if they had the help of the manufacturer, it would have been a little more clear. Possibly even had more data available to them they didn't understand. Dick's the one who's sitting down right now next to Alex Murdaugh. Sorry.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Hopefully this won't take long, just a few clarifying questions. First, you mentioned that the data was encrypted.
Yes, when we pulled the data off the chip, it was encrypted.
Is this something that the manufacturer did?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. It's not something that the end user doesn't do something to encrypt the data. It comes that way.
Not for an infotainment system, no.
And so it sounded like you kind of had to reverse engineer with a test vehicle to figure out the media stuff. Were you not able to get General Motors to assist with that?
We could, but we generally try to find the data on our own. Often we have it's difficult for us to get the manufacturers to work with us on that data.
When we hack into their systems and break the security.
Did anyone attempt to reach out to General Motors, say
this was my question.
The data?
Not from EDAU.
I won't go over this spreadsheet too much. You still have the exhibit with you?
I have a copy.
Okay. And we didn't have a...
We can pull that.
I'm not. There's Buster, top left corner. I think Buster's back. He's back in. He just shifted from where he was in the morning. So the family's there. They've been in there pretty much the whole time. Obviously, they left during the bomb threat. Everyone did.
Thank you. I wanted to ask you just briefly about, if I can find it on this. There were some things that were happening at 903. 903.
Hey, Jay, that's awesome.
2103.
I love it.
Let me do it. I've got my phone.
I'm surprised they did not reach out to the manufacturer and say, can you work with us? Can you extract it and tell us what it is? Instead of like, we'll do it ourselves. We'll break it open with a hammer and then put the pieces together.
Mean this group of things that say info state, sleep, then state, some abbreviation, animate, all these things happening in this 904, 905 range. What does that mean?
So as I was attempting to explain before, that some of these messages, like individually, they don't mean a whole lot. Like, what does this actually mean? But in this case, it's generally showing. Could you scroll down just a little bit more so I could see a few more of the messages? So it looks like initially, like at line number 984, where the system initially boots up, and then at 904.
Well, let me stop you there.
I'm
when
sorry.
You say system startup, what does that mean? What is the system and what is it doing when it starts up?
So this is just the computer for the infotainment center. This is not the entire vehicle, but something woke up that system. And just like your home computer, it needs to boot up before Windows is ready. It's a similar thing that has a boot up sequence.
What's Windows?
This is a log that says that was initiated.
I haven't heard any GPS extraction from this. I'm not sure if they got anything.
What would trigger this? What would make this startup happen?
We know that some events that make it happen, such as opening the door or just starting the car, we don't know all the events that might make that happen.
Well, on my Chevy, if you walk near it with the key fob, the lights come on the little door handles. You can stick your foot under the rear, and the rear will come up. Would walking near it with the key fob trigger anything?
It's a possibility, but we did not investigate that.
Wow. This is good questions.
Scrolling down here to 906 and 48 seconds, am I reading this correctly to say that the engine was turned on?
Can you scroll down just a little bit further? Keep going just a little bit more into the 49th second. So if you see that there was at one point there was messages such engine run false, which is only within the same second as a following up on engine running true. It's messages like this that get a little bit confusing on there, but ultimately it's basically saying here I'm at, but I'm moving to this state here. So in that case, it looked like the engine started running at this time.
Okay.
Can't believe they came here to court and have no clue what some of these things are or what triggers them. The manufacturer will be able to tell them all this. I mean, they have the programming.
Well, I don't think I'll belabor this spreadsheet anymore, but I did want to ask, did you additionally retrieve data related to the phone connecting to the entertainment system? I think there was the 911 call that you...
We had a call log that was extracted, as well as the connection of a Bluetooth, or several Bluetooth devices.
I believe the car clock is based off satellite.
Printout.
So yes,
is this
should
a
be
printout
correct.
of device connection history that you were able to obtain from the vehicle?
Probably in a different format than how he viewed it initially. Defense likes to do that.
We need to go back to the original material and take a look at this, because some of this looks more than like what we originally collected.
Oh my goodness.
There's pages of this here.
There's pages.
Right, it goes back way outside of sort of the time frame, but that's... I mean, can you identify this?
I mean, the format looks familiar, but it looks... I might have to go back into the original material and pull up the HTML report. Is that acceptable?
Absolutely.
Defense did this once before with a report that was in a different format than what the expert had reviewed it in. And now it looks like they have more data than the expert looked at before. He's like, where'd you get this?
And to look at his original data to validate what Mr. Barber has. State has no objection to that. Well, we'll just need a few minutes for him to validate it.
No objection, Your Honor. Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll have you go to the jury room for a short break, hopefully.
Okay, so this expert, this is his second time being deemed an expert testifying in court. He's done it once before. He can't even remember what he was certified as an expert in the last time. Something to do with computer, car, automotive, forensic, something like that. He doesn't know what it was, but this is round 2 for him. So the second little star in his magic CV, which is mostly just training classes he attended at the FBI. So he's very new when it comes to testifying in court, and probably not very confident and not very knowledgeable. He probably has enough information, but this is the defense might make him look really bad here. He's trying to do what's right. He's trying to share the information, but yes, wet behind the ears is to put it lightly. GM probably won't play with the FBI, right? Especially, it sounds like they bought like the VIP package, right? That has the encrypted computer system and everything, which is an option you can get from the manufacturer. And instead of playing nicely with them, they said, we're just going to crack it open. We've cracked it open always before, and they cracked this one open. It's like, oh, it's encrypted. We've never seen that before. Took a year to break the encryption. And now they're trying to piece together. They had to get another vehicle that was identical to Alex and drive it and test it and try to learn. It's like learning a new language, basically. They're trying to teach themselves a new language by driving the vehicle, doing a couple things that they know what they've done, and then printing out the log and saying, now what did it show? Oh, so that means this must mean this. And so they've sort of taught themselves what the log means. They don't know what triggers it. They don't know what event the car has undergone, whether it was the key fob that got pressed or somebody walked up close to the car or swung their foot under the trunk or something to activate the trunk. They don't know what triggers each of these computer turning on. It looks like it started turning on, and there it started turning off, and it looks like the car was out of park. There's probably a wealth of information, if they were able to get the support of the manufacturer on this, that they could get out of this data. Much more than they have. So it's surprising that that wasn't that they weren't able to do that, even compel it through subpoena or something. I don't know. It reminds me of the encrypted Apple phone situation. What was that in California, where the FBI wanted to break into somebody's phone that had a password, and if they guessed it wrong too many times, it would erase everything. And Apple was not going to help them, and so they went to, I think it was Israel. They went to Israel and got some software that they paid a fortune for. Like we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars type thing to crack into this. And now it's standard practice. Now they have it, and they can crack phones pretty easily. But man, let's see. Not speculation. When the car was not in park, it was very relevant to the timeline. Yeah, the information they have is good, Jay. I agree with you that this is going to be very damning as we look at the alibi that Alex has put forward, saying this is where I was and when I was there. I think this will conflict with several points in that alibi. Kind of feel bad for the guy, kind of and kind of not. This is the state's responsibility. The FBI should do a better job with this, and the state should do a better job with this. 600 people in chat. Awesome. You guys are all being good too. Love that we don't have any trolls here. The mods are fantastic that way, but this is a fun place to be. If you are just hanging out in chat and liking this, feel free to drop your name and say hi, where you're from. We're a friendly bunch. We don't bite very hard. So introduce yourself. You'll find you're actually probably among friends. Some of the info could be found in the owner's manual, like activating car with a key fob, etc. Yeah, Bite Me, I think what they needed really is to look at the programming for this computer. That would have told them a lot about this, and that's probably also encrypted. But maybe a little bit more difficult to get into. I'm working hard on withholding a sentence in this trial, but I do have to say the defense is nothing but smoke and mirrors and not being carried off too well. Sandy, good take on that one. Prosecution either wants a not guilty or a mistrial. We're so blinded by stealing money, they aren't making their point. Hannah, they've got so many good points that have been brought out in testimony that have not been emphasized to the jury, and they haven't connected the dots. That's the biggest thing for me. There are so many points that the jury needs to have pulled together so they can see the whole picture. And if they're just expecting the jury in deliberation to go through what's going to be a mountain a mountain of evidence, just pages and pages of transcripts, of testimony, of video, of hundreds of exhibits, and then try to just piece this together on the wall with some scotch tape, some yarn, and a few sticky notes. It's not going to happen. The jury is not going to be able to assemble this. They need somebody, and hopefully more than just in closing statement in an hour and a half to quickly cobble this together. I think right now they need to be laying that groundwork and telling the jury, this is why this is important. This is why this is important, and just assembling it as much as possible so the jury can be, have something in their head that they can hold on to and build as they move forward. Watching from Walla Walla, Washington. Good to have you, Laura. Thanks for being here. Where are the clothes he wore in the Snapchat? Blue, white shirt, long pants. Leah, those clothes, we saw them in the video when he was playing with that tree that would sort of flopped over. But nobody knows. Nobody knows. And it seems the testimony we heard the other day was that when they actually did collect the clothing evidence from him, he was allowed to sort of go in his room and change and then bring it out. And he brought it out. I sure hope if he was at a police station, he would have done that under observation. He would have done that in a room where they could make sure that they were getting the clothes that he was wearing. The way it was testified to, I'm not sure I could vouch that that's what it was. But, yeah, interesting. I'm in chat every time you're live. I just don't say very much, Carly. It's all right. Lurking is okay. Kathy Miller is watching from Arizona. Thank you, Kathy. Thanks for being here. Let's see. I was thinking the defense would say you can disrupt data by hacking into the device. I don't think they would on that one. It seems log files are dependent on the format. I think that would be rough. Our resident weatherman, WeatherWatch, has posted an update here. He gave us an update this morning for some parts of Louisiana, Mississippi. It looks like tornado watch is issued for portions of southeastern Arkansas, northern Louisiana, western Mississippi, eastern Texas until 9 p.m. So if you're in that area, please stay safe. It means conditions are favorable for tornadoes and severe thunderstorms in and close to the watch area. Persons in this area should be on the lookout for severe weather conditions. So please do stay safe. That's going to be tonight. And Thomas was mentioning that it's those after dark tornadoes that are the worst because we can't see them coming. You've got to pay attention to the warnings on your phone, on the weather radio. Could manufacturer not be sharing because of trade secrets? Linda, yes, but I think they might be able to compel with a court order. I'm sure they would fight it. And there's a chance. Sometimes manufacturers want to do the right thing and sometimes they don't. And that right thing is obviously subjective. Some people would say the right thing is to not share. A lot of us have even texting devices on our phones that we use we use them because they're encrypted, because they're safe, because I don't want people reading my chats, whether it's just with my family talking about, vacation plans or, just catching up or whatever. We like to think that our information is secure. So maybe they were doing the right thing by not sharing. Either way, the state looks bad. The FBI looks sort of weak in this one, where they had to cobble this together and still have not enough answers about how these logs work and why they have what they have. They just wanted an excuse to buy a fancy car for themselves. DMB, I wonder who got their test car after they were done with it. It was an identical Suburban to the one Alec had. So would be interesting to see who got that as a reward. Maybe it's sitting in a lot somewhere, going to be auctioned off for pennies on the dollar. Do all cars with proximity sensors in the fob wake up when they're nearby, or does it require pushing the open door button on the handle? I think it would probably depend on the car, Sunshine Sunflowers. A lot of the cars that I would say have a key that does not require to be put in the car, just have to be on your person. I would say those are the ones that are going to wake up when you're nearby. But that's just my guess on that one. Prosecutors are underfunded compared to Dick and Jim's $750 an hour. Man, that's a lot of money to sit there in court and snooze through it. But, I guess that's what they want. I resent that remark about having no trolls here, says KQD, who has a picture of a troll in his logo. I went by that handle for many years when I got my KQD 0882 license. Talking about the CB radio license, your handle was troll, which was funny. I think at one point your name in here was troll as well, which was also funny. Rando says, my real name is Eric from Tacoma. Welcome, Eric. Good to have you here. Morten Anderson from Denmark, Copenhagen. Wonderful to have you there as well. We have a lot of people from Europe and Scandinavia in here. Watching from England's East Coast, crazy and super sad case. G. Smith, you are not wrong on that one. I like watching EDM because it's so confusing. She explains a lot. So I go back and forth. I understand. I love some of those other channels as well. I cannot fault you for going over there yourself. Do come back and share your thoughts, though, with us when you can. Let's see. Floppy tree syndrome. That was in the Snapchat video. Let's see. Hey, y'all. Eddie from San Marcos, Texas. Fellow Washington, says AJ. Let's see. Eddie says, new here. Welcome, Eddie Pastrano. Good to have you here, Eddie. This is a fun place to be if you like true crime and following court. We do this every day, 9 a.m. Eastern. No one is going to believe AM hacked into his GM. Yeah, Andy, I don't think they did, and I think defense did a good job bringing that out right when they opened up, basically saying this wasn't something the end user did. Alex didn't encrypt his computer inside his car. A lot of people with individual computers, if he had like a laptop, and he probably could have encrypted that. That technology is available pretty readily for pretty low cost off the shelf as well. And I mean, I've had encrypted laptops. A one-man's view says basically proving when the car was used and driving and parked due to the infotainment coming on and off. It's interesting. Yeah, they have a little bit more than the infotainment with actually knowing when it was out of park or in park, and when the car was started type thing. But some good information. We do have Amber who has done a ton of work both here on this channel as well as over on the Discord. She's working on a timeline with the information we have from this testimony from this witness, and hopefully we'll have some more visuals that we can look at and really match everything up. Looks like Judge is coming right back right now. Jill Hipple says, brought you all to the beach with me and the baby. That's why I've got a sunburn, Jill. Thank you. Turn me over. I think I'm done. I'm cooked on one side. Hope you enjoy the time at the beach, Jill. Thanks for bringing us with.
You bring the jury.
Just copy a little bit of data, so we'll need maybe 2 or 3 more minutes.
We're going to bring the jury and let them watch you do that.
Love this, Judge. Judge Newman's like, I gave you time. They killed the mics from the courtroom. We're going to keep the video on just to see what happens. Let's see. Look who's in the courtroom. Still pretty packed today. Other days in court, basically the second hour after lunchtime, it's sort of thinned out in court. As we're getting through more of the technical stuff and into the more interesting testimony, I think we're having more people stay around. Let's see. Morton Anderson. Where's Morton from? Hang on. Was Morton from... I didn't see where Morton was. Because that looks like Norwegian, if I know my Norwegian, which I don't. That would just be my guess there. All right. I don't have an AKA because Alex stole it. Kelly doesn't have it. That was yesterday's testimony because Alex stole it. We'll have to get that soundbite working as well. Ooh, tornado warning. South Central Vermilion Parish in southwestern Louisiana. Stay safe, guys. We need a good mic drop sound. We need like a boom goes the dynamite one as well. That would be fun. What if the car connected to Paul and the wife's phone at the time of the murders? I don't think it did. I think they would have told us. That would have been fascinating had it done that. Shown them in the area right next to them. Still copying some data frantically as the jury watches. And this is the first time the jury gets to see when something's happening with the judge just sitting there quietly. So they're like, this is what happens every time we're gone. You guys just stand around and look at notebooks together. I don't know what the format is. I'm pretty sure the defense would have shared with the prosecution what they have. Maybe it just goes the other way around. But defense has done this a couple times where they have a report that is different from what the expert produced, whether it's a different spreadsheet or they formatted it differently or it's a different timeline. Like in this case, I believe the defense has a snapshot that is larger in scope than what the prosecutors, the FBI guy has. If I were in that jury box, I'd be humming the Final Jeopardy theme real loud about right now. DMB, that would be great. I need a mic drop sound. We've heard that earlier today. I think that was actually somebody that just hit the microphone. It was that big boom sound. I could do it, but it would make your ears hurt. Let's see. We're just kicking back, taking it easy. I've got a sound effect for that too here. Let's see.
I was kicked back, taking it easy.
There we go. Uh-oh, it's getting serious. Creighton's up here. They've swapped out the FBI techie for a lawyer to work on the computer, so we'll see if that's... We're not on a break. They're trying to copy some information. Apparently, defense brought up a report that was different, or at least looked different to the expert, even though defense is basically saying it's the same thing. It's just a different scope. The expert's like, this looks different. I'd have to compare it to my notes. Well, they say, we'll give you a few minutes to compare.
Recess for the day and resume at 9:30 tomorrow morning. Please do not discuss the case.
And boom. We missed the bailiff yelling, all rise. Just like that, court is done for the day. It is 4:30. We ended early. We also need the Sheriff Judd sound effect. We do. We had the bomb threat today. No kaboom sounds, please. Not today. It's too soon, right, Mo Freedom? But so here's where we're going to pick up. Tomorrow when we come back, we expect this witness to have been studying this all night long. He probably won't get much sleep because he's going to be studying this and trying to understand exactly what this report is, what it contains, what they might be asking him. Creighton's there. You can see him saying, why can't you just use our report? And they're not going to do that. They want to use their own report because of how it showed, how it's formatted, something. They want to throw him off his groove a little bit and ask him some questions that... It's interesting. He shouldn't be talking to the lawyers right now about his testimony, I think. I don't know. But camera's still live. It hasn't panned up to the ceiling, so I'm sticking with it as long as they'll let us. There's Mr. Murdaugh right there, getting a little bit of chat time in. Looks like family's still there. Buster's back 3 or 4 rows back. You can see him with a blue tag on his gray shirt. Red hair is pretty apparent. People are slowly filing out of the courtroom. Looks like a bottleneck there. See, Harpootlian is happy to be out of the day, out a little early. Let's see, that's a deputy, a sheriff deputy who's moving in, who's going to be escorting Mr. Murdaugh back to his accommodations. Let's see. Usually he takes a candy for the road. He'll pop one in his mouth for the road. Let's see what he does here. I imagine he doesn't get a lot of this candy, or maybe not that candy, in jail. But he's tried to put some in his pocket before, and they took it out. They wouldn't let him take it with him. Today was fun. It was really fun. Little attorney-client privilege going on right here. Sure got a lot of paperwork to study tonight. A lot of documents. So we'll follow him as he goes out one door and everybody else goes out the other. Glasses come off. That was not a jury member. That was a court photographer that he just nodded to. There goes Mr. Murdaugh. He'll be outside court here in just a minute. But let's see. See who's leaving. There's Buster back there. Red hair. Focus. There he is. And girlfriend next to him there on his left with the overcoat on. I'm not sure who's talking in the radio right there. What's going on there? Probably maybe some bailiffs. Buster seems a bit amused at the situation. Well, that's it for today, guys. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Tomorrow, at your request, we're going to do a special morning thing. First thing we do is, as soon as the live stream starts at 9 a.m., I do regift the internet. The first person in chat gets the internet. I give them the whole thing. It's just a small thing I can do for you, but the first person in chat wins the internet. So we'll give the internet away, and then I'm going to try to show some pet pictures because you guys blew up the burner phone. I do have a burner phone, for those that don't know. If you need to reach out to me, you can text me, you can call it, and leave messages. But people were sending pet pictures. What's up? Oh, I just got a reminder from my family. Kill the sound before it goes and beeps in us. So I just did that. It's not going to beep today. Turn off the live feed before the bars and tone. Came out from Amber as well. Thank you, Amber. I appreciate that. My son told me almost simultaneously to your text. Sound is off. We're not going to get the beep. Anyway, so tomorrow we're going to do, instead of roll call, instead of me just checking in with everybody and putting you all down on the roll to make sure you're here, because I do keep roll. I keep attendance, and there's a test at the end of the year. So, Bill, I'm a ham radio operator too. Good to see that. Instead of doing that, we're gonna show some pet pics, and basically it's going to be claim my pet. I'm going to show the pictures, and you guys can shout out in chat when you see your pet. So you're going to have to be here early. You're going to have to be here to catch that. Let's see, it looks like Mr. Murdaugh's about to be escorted out of the building. Look at those pink cuffs. There he is. He's got cuffs on now, and he wears his coat over the top of it like that, just so it's not very apparent that he's cuffed. He doesn't like pictures of him being cuffed, but he'll go ahead and take a seat in the van, and he'll be headed to the big house for a little bit. He'll be back tomorrow. There are all his papers, because those get to come with him. All his court paperwork. But let's see. Is that a ham license, KQD? I believe KQD's license is referring to an old CB license, way back when they were licensed. Just got back from work, recovery addict. What did I miss today? Is it over for today? Yes, always on the go. It is, unfortunately. You missed a few things. We had, a bomb threat right before lunch that gave us an extended lunch. We've had a little bit of good testimony, but the stuff we're really excited about was the car testimony that just happened with this expert testifying about the timestamps of the car starting up and turning off and being out of park, and it authenticated the caretaker's testimony, saying Alec was not there for 30 to 40 minutes. It was 21 minutes that he was at his mom's house, based on the timeline of where we know the vehicle was. We did not get GPS data. I was hoping we would get some GPS stuff that would show where the car was, but that did not come through. I'm not sure if that'll come later or from someone else, but it did not come through in this witness. Let's see. Morton is from Denmark. Gotcha. Very windy on Maui today, says Maui Gal. Well, good. I'm glad you could stay inside a little bit and enjoy the show here. See if there are any questions. I'm just looking for people who tag me in the comment, like Christy did here. If you've got a question you want me to try to answer before we wrap up for the day, I will do that. I will say that if you like being here, if you like this community, if you enjoy watching this way, I would ask that you subscribe, ring the bell. That way you'll be notified every time we go live. I do this every Monday through Friday. This is the best job in the world. I don't do anything else. I don't go on vacation or anything. But that's I'd love to have you join us and just get to know some of the friends you have here that you haven't met yet. Sharon, thank you very much. I have turned off the feed before the loud noise. The loud noise has not happened yet, but and Tracy, you guys are good. We're done early. The judge said the jury was going to come in and watch them copy stuff, and he realized it was going to take longer than expected, and just said let's call it quits for today. Lindsay, thank you. I will. Let's see. I fell asleep and woke up to some major disorganization and the judge ending the day and leaving the bench. Ouch. Yeah, Suzanne, you're going to have to rewind just a little bit to see what happened. Why did Buster move to the back? I think it was just first come, first serve on the seating, and with the shuffle with the bomb threat and everything, everyone shuffled. Alex is in jail. It's on different charges, but he's in jail he's been in for quite a while. He said, I'll make this quick, then pulls up a report that is not the FBI's report and says it's his report. Yeah, that's basically how the defense started. They said, hey, let's look at this report together, and handed him a stack of papers, and the guy's like, I don't recognize this. So he'll get to compare them tonight, I think. We don't want that nasty beep. Going to mash up all the phone data with SUV data right now. This is Amber. Calypson's Vixen is Amber, and she does a fantastic job putting this data together. She also is a document hound for the Discord channel, the Discord server, and puts together a lot of great stuff for us. She's called in as well and just given us a ton of information about this trial and some background and things like that. Even some stuff that we might not get to hear in court. Just from all her research. So we're going to watch for that, Amber. I can't wait to see it with the timestamps of this vehicle synced up to maybe the phone and just the timeline that we know already. Getting some more pet pics on the burner phone as we speak. He would have been better off just saying he was home the whole time. That would have been easier. Let's see. It has been quite a week. Check the burner, please, says Amber. Let me give it a quick look here and see what we've got. There's so many pet pictures on here right now. Let's see, Amber, here we go. I've got pages and pages. There we go. Turn off the live feed before bars and tone. I'm going to match up all the phone logs and the vehicle data and graph it all together. Is a PDF okay to send to you, and if so, where? Amber, I'll text you the email, and I'll check it just as a special thing just for you. I normally don't, but I will. Why does Alex always look like a lawyer instead of a prisoner? P. Cooper, because he is a lawyer. That's what he is. This is what he does. This is his work area. He's very comfortable in court, although this is probably one of the first times he's been a defendant in court. Let's see, anything else? I was surprised the judge adjourned for the day, considering there was a 2.5 hour delay. I think the stress of that is probably why he did it. Just there's a lot of talk, and it's probably people aren't focusing very well. Obviously, the jury knew they got evacuated from the building. They probably need just a reset, so it's probably for the better that this happened. So you'll show a pet, and then we can raise our hand and claim ownership. That's the idea, AJ, because it's difficult for me to. I can share the pictures, but it's difficult to also share the name of the pet and who submitted it. So it's going to be like a random claim your pet day as I go through the pictures. If you feel left out, Heather, go ahead and just send like a landscape picture, or you at the zoo or something. Anything works. I'll let just about anything in right now. I've got my standards. We're not going to venture into like the Mark Jensen case territory, but it'll be good. Thank you, everybody, for reminding me to turn the sound off. I appreciate that. 782 gear, Judge Newman shuts it down for 2 days. It's until tomorrow, right? Not for 2 days, right? I think it's just for tomorrow, a couple hours early. I do love the pink cuffs I saw there on that sheriff's officer. What time am I starting? All right, I start at 9 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. So right now it is 4:47 Eastern time, if you need to do the math for your particular area. Kinky cuffs? No, just pink cuffs, I said. Pink cuffs, Richard. Sorry if you misheard me. Get your glow sticks ready. I wonder if he's getting special treatment at the jail. Carol, it's hard to imagine that he's not. Just because of what we see in the courtroom. I mean, there are other trials, the defendant is like ushered out as soon as court is over. It's just done. Not happening here. Let's see. Anybody else? Got to head out. Thanks once again, Carol. Thanks for being here. Good night to you. Katrina flipped the chat switch. The chat is back on. Thank you for doing that. I forget that. Our mods can turn the chat on remotely. That's awesome. And by chat, I mean the picture on the screen, like what you see right here. So they can turn this on and off. Mods can do that. So if I'm talking to you and it sounds like your chat should be on the screen and it's not, just ask one of the mods and they'll turn the chat on. Just make sure you ask just one mod, because if they all turn it on, it could be on, off, on, off, off, on. You never know where it's going to end up. Little Miss don't see anything coming for 24 hours. I haven't looked any further out since I'm tracking the tornado-warned storms. Yeah, Weather Watch is going to be up late tonight for that. Hope things go well for you all in that regard. Let's see. Is Alex Murdaugh wearing ankle chains? He is not, Sharon. It's just cuffs on the wrists when he's outside of court. They don't cuff him in court. They cuff him out of sight from the jury, and then he throws his suit jacket over the top of it, makes it look like he's just walking around for a general, walk in the park. Tish, thank you for being here. Let's see. I think our sounds are still off, though. I think that foreign language broke it. I have to go in and fix it. I'm gonna stop and reset it, and it will fix it again. As a matter of fact, I can do that right now. Let me turn the chat off so it doesn't mess up with the screen. We're gonna bounce it really quickly. So it's going down, and we're gonna bring it back up. There's probably a log somewhere that shows when I start this up and stop it, just like Alex Murdaugh's car. There we go. It's connecting and it's fired up. We're going to give it a quick test. Let's see. Here we go. Do a quick test.
For the record, I don't consent to that name.
That's working.
Are we going to address subject matter jurisdiction?
There's a lawsuit.
Okay, so they're working right now. We'll leave the commands up a little bit tomorrow morning as well. I'll leave them turned on so we can have some fun before trial starts. We will turn all those noises off during trial itself, just so we don't cause problems, because we do want to hear what happens in the courtroom. And I need to move my mic so I can see. So cat, camel, cackle, squirrel. Let's fire those babies up too. There we go.
Are we going to address subject matter jurisdiction?
Yes, we will. All right, so now everything's set. So tomorrow it's going to be fun. Please do join us. See, the sounds are working now. It's all good. I'm not sure where the cat one went.
I'm not a cat.
There it is. All right, do we have a spicy command? I do not have that yet.
I'm not a camel.
The squirrel and camel came in at the same time. Tag, we don't have peeps for you yet. I'm not sure. You sent me the sound. I'm not sure which one I want to use.
I don't consent to that name.
It was a long video, so I've got to find a good peeps sound for you. Enjoyed today, says Bite Me. Thank you very much. Justice Jane says meow. We've got cat sounds. I will be here. Wonderful. You guys, I'm sort of glad the judge ended a little early, because I've got to prep just a few things for my youth activity tonight, where I'm teaching people a few things that I know about YouTube, which isn't much. It's going to be a short little lesson, but it's going to be a lot of fun. There's some good kids that I get to hang out with. So thank you all tonight. When you go home, whenever you do go home, because it's going to be a little bit, I'm sure, because you got out a little early, please hug the people. Hug the people you love. Smile at someone. Make the day just a little bit better. And please stay safe until we go live again. And I can't believe I said all that without playing the music, but I did. There's the music, guys. Thank you so much. It's been a fun day. Amber, I'll reach out to you with the email to send me that PDF at. And thank you so much once again. More pet pics are just flooding in. We'll need them all to be in tonight. I won't be able to add to them tomorrow. So get your pet pics in now to the burner phone. If you need the burner phone number, hit !burner in chat right now before we go and end the live. Rick, virtual hugs to you as well. Thank you so much. Let's see. Let's see. Love you all. Yeah, there it is. Tish said the burner. Here's the burner phone number right there. 801-513-1160. That's the burner phone. You can reach me. It's great for tips. If you see crime happening, if you see a police chase, if you see something like that you think the greater community would like to know about, go ahead and send it to the burner phone. We'll see if we can check it out and share it with people. I can't share everything, unfortunately. There's too much. But I'm going to try to get everyone's pet pics from tonight ready for the live stream tomorrow morning. So we'll do that. We'll be going for about half an hour before court starts, and then we'll go from there. Justice Jane, thank you for being here. Appreciate all of you. This is the best place on the internet to watch true crime, and it's because of all of you. It would not be the same without you. I just want to say thank you all I've already told you to give hugs, smile, and be safe. So please, you guys, have a great afternoon. Have some fun. I look forward to seeing your pet pictures. We'll see you.